opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship, and welcome to round 7. We're here at the Hockenheim ring, not quite as we used to know it back in 1997, but we're here for the 7th round of the season and the German Bore Prix. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm delighted to be once again joining, well, he's joining me, I'm going to say, but that's a bit egotistical, actually, so sorry. Jack, I'm joining you for this one, mate, because it's always a pleasure to work together. We've had a lot of good laughs recently, especially with the TRL TC Championship as well at Bathurst. How have you been? Because it feels like forever.
It has. It's felt like a long one, but we're past halfway. It's always good to be back and working together. Joint at the hip, together,
yes,
in unison, equals.
Yes.
But here we are, Hockenheim ring, Chaz. Getting onto the matter at hand. This is a circuit for me. Love this place. Always done well on the F1 games here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do around this slipstreamy, but quite tricky at times circuit.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-speed corners here, and like you say, a big slipstreaming section all the way down to the hairpin that will really separate these drivers and see who's got the right strategy in mind. A driver that's had the right championship in mind at the moment is Cam Dance. As you see there, absolutely dominating the championship at the moment. He's taken 5 wins in the first 6 races. Jake Blackall is currently in second in the championship on 86 points ahead of Christian Rose. He will maybe be joining us last minute tonight to be the 21st car on the grid, and that was pretty hilarious, whoever that was throwing it off at turn 1.
I can hold that.
Still has Craig Brolick, 4th at the moment on 69 points ahead of Pete Newman and Kevin Zemstra, who for some reason is showing up as driving a Minardi. I've only just noticed that seems to be wrong. But anyway, there are a few drivers that are going to be looking for points for the first time this season tonight. And, well, we have a couple of drivers to look at, don't we, here, Jack? Because we've got a few new additions for this evening.
Yeah, Bart Delman here. The Belgian, is that Belgian driver
Yes.
flag there in the Stuart Ford as he locks up, and there we go. Carlos signs it into the gravel and in the wall. He'll get that fixed and come back out and practice. That is what practice is for. He's finding the limits early. Aaron Smith too, the second, number 70, the American driver. We've seen him last time out he's in the Jordan, currently 14th out there, 9 tenths off. It's looking close out there again on the times in the lovely yellow rocket machine. Benson and Hedges back as well. Quick, you can't shout them out. I don't smoke, believe it or not.
I don't either.
It's a healthy lifestyle choice, but there he goes around the hairpin, keeping it tidy. A little bit of a squirrel on the exit. It'll be interesting to see how much of that we've seen this car so often on the loud pedal, shall we say, just spin where someone's accelerated too early, and that hairpin is going to be a prime example of that, I fear, for some drivers. But we'll see. You've got James Underhill here, number 14, the British driver in the Tyrrell Ford. The piano car, I call it. Piano. But there he is, currently in 18th place, 1.2 seconds off the pace in practice. But he'll be looking to make some gains in the race, I'm sure, with anyone that makes contact or has any issues, as long as he can keep a clean nose.
Now, Cam Dance has just joined the session as well, so he makes it 22 cars for this evening. We have Silas Craig-Vrolic back with us as well tonight in the McLaren. Great to see Silas back on the grid. We missed him last time out, and his exciting driving at Silverstone. And what a great race we had there. Won by this man, Jake Blackhall, in the Williams, the 1997 Williams, looking very beautiful indeed. He practices his pit entry, which is going to be oh so important tonight to make sure that these guys don't lose any time at all. Now, Bart Delman is in a Stuart Ford, which is going to go well around here because Bart is a double Nevo Formula 3 champion, so he knows his open wheel cars, and for some reason, I'm an idiot, didn't think about that and didn't put him in something like a Williams and swap him with, I don't know, Ben Hoffman. But that may be done for the next time round. Martin Kenyon has a new teammate in the form of Jakub Szymanski. Jakub has left the Stuart team and moved to Lola. Bart basically took Jakub's place in that Stuart. And other than that, we've not really got much moving around. Pete Harrod is a newcomer as well. Ex-World GT champion Pete Harrod takes over the seat in the Prosmugen Honda from Craig McLeod-Evans. Jack Stiles is out there in the Ferrari again. We've got Ed May, our very good commentator friend, in the Sauber. But, I mean, 22 cars on the grid once again here, Jack. It's fantastic to see because for a few rounds now, we've not had that many cars on track. I say not many, but, you know, not a capacity grid. Not 20 anyway.
No, and it'll be nice to see them all line up after qualifying, all on the same grid, and see how long they can stay a compact grid of 22 cars. We've seen how feisty it gets at the starts, but then I feel like at this stage in the season, maybe, don't want to jinx it, but maybe some people are starting to realise or take into account that the races aren't short, so survival on lap 1, or sending it on lap 1, shall I say, is not needed. You can survive and just try and stay with the tow. The tow is going to be massive round here. And pit stop strategies, as we've also seen, have played a key part with some regular drivers actually getting 2 or 3 seconds gained in the pit stop phase. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's quite exciting to see how different drivers take different approaches to the pit stop strategies and how late they can push them, or whether they want to be the first car to do it. But if you've not watched this championship before, you can look at the timing tower now and just get an idea of how close it is. We've got a second separating 16 cars. I can't read. Second separating 16 cars on a lap that's over a minute and a half. It is incredibly, incredibly competitive. And thanks to F1 Delta as well, who said, I've not watched the championship before, but I'm really digging the 90s F1 graphics. I really appreciate that. They took a long, long time to sort out. Here is Bart Delman in the Stuart. 3rd position at the moment. Bart will be quick this season, and I can guarantee you that he's going to transfer to Williams after this meeting. We were slightly discussing doing it beforehand, but it was only very, very last minute. Christian Rose, by the way, we feel that Christian may not be at ultimate pace tonight compared to what he can do, because he's only just got back from sorting a rig out. He works with Pure Sims, and he's been building a rig with Ash Sutton, the British Touring Car champion. to make sure that gets sent out to a customer. So he's been a little bit late into the session today, but the beautiful West McLaren Mercedes, I'm sure, will go well. I was actually at the Hungaroring on the weekend, and in the media restaurant, you get a sort of secondary restaurant for all the personnel and media people and organisers. They actually had a 1999 David Coulthard West McLaren in the restaurant, which was really cool. The actual car, which I found pretty amazing.
Yeah, do you know what always baffles me is there are, I mean, that one sounds more sort of at home within a racetrack, but there are F1 cars sometimes dotted just in the most random places and shops. There's been I've seen a McLaren hanging up from the ceiling in a Hugo Boss shop, but like one of the old 07 ones.
Oh yeah.
And they're just everywhere. There's a go-kart track in London that's got like an old Jordan chassis, but they've painted it to look like a Ferrari, so it looks like they've got more money than they have.
Oh,
and
no.
little things like that. It's amazing where they all are. And I'm sure that there's I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter, but there was a Caterham restoration account that was trying to rebuild the 2012 Caterham F1 car. There must be F1 cars hidden. Think about the history and how long F1's been going.
Oh,
they must be everywhere, all around the world, just dotted in people's garages and shops and stuff. Crazy.
Oh, surely they must be. Absolutely. Adam Hedgecock there taking an alternative approach to the middle sector. Adam has recently joined the Altitude Esports squad, who were celebrating last night, as here on the channel, on Chaz Draycott Media, we saw Mark Fletcher become the Nevo European Porsche Cup Series champion in amazing style. He was tied on points with, I believe it was Senna Lansons, until the last corner of the race, and that meant that they were going to be decided on wins, but Mark actually got the position and won the championship by a couple of points in the last corner of the season. It was pretty amazing. Qualifying begins then, and we're going to get cars out on track in just a moment. We should have James Underhill, the first car out on the track tonight, and he's going to get word in a sec to get moving, and yep, here you go. James has been putting a lot of time in practice to get ready for this evening, and there was a bit of a mix-up between him and a few other drivers that I was hoping to get in, and yeah, I oversubscribed basically. Hasse Raymer and Karn Newen, who has moved to the Tyrrell team, will both not be here tonight, so James has been given the nod to go racing, and he's really been looking forward to making his debut. Now, he knows the drill: one lap, and then flyer, and then in lap. And not to go slowly on the in-lap is very important around here. But on your own around this track here, Jack, it's a big, wide old place, is the Hockenheim ring. Where do you think are the biggest challenges for a driver when you're hot lapping on your own with nobody around you?
Oh, that is a tough question. So the hairpin is always a tricky one, because especially when you're on your flying lap, because the adrenaline is going. Let's say you nail turn 1 and 2, which can be tricky in itself because the exit is so important down that back straight. You've then got the hardest and sharpest turn that you'd expect, and with the adrenaline going, you get tunnel vision, and you have to spot that braking zone perfectly to gain the maximum amount of time, get your turn in and the exit just spot on. This corner I don't think will be too tricky in the car, unless the tyres start to slip on the rear through the exit of that fast corner. This is a tricky one coming up. There's not really a braking point there to easily spot. There's a concrete wall on the left, which some people misjudge, and then you chuck it in at high speed into that right-hander. This one's nicely cambered, the one he's going around now. You can use all the curb on the exit, and then this one is a tricky one as well. Braking zone towards the outside of the circuit, coast in, and then you don't want to bounce over that exit curb too much. You want to try and carry the speed. Some people might even be able to do that. That one basically separates the men from the boys. If you can get the throttle down early and hold that speed without losing the rear end, you're going to gain massive amounts of time in that final section there.
Yeah, you really are. It's certainly a pivotal point of the track. As in the background there, you see Pete Harrod make his way out onto the circuit, but James Underhill currently going for it then in this opening sector. We'll go on board and show you just how the car accelerates all the way down what is apparently called the Parabolica, up through 130 miles an hour. They tend to top out about 134, and we've seen people in the slipstream get up to about 145, haven't we? I think was the fastest that we saw back at Barcelona, which was just unbelievable. But look at that, nice tidy stuff by James Underhill. He's been racing on a direct drive wheel recently. He's got a new rig sorted, and that looked very, very smooth indeed. He was really not confident with his pace coming into this, but 1.2 seconds off the fastest guys in the series in practice is not bad at all, is it?
No, that was a very tidy hairpin, and look how he absolutely threw the car there. For someone who's not confident, he's hitting all of his marks. A little bit of understeer, ploughing a little bit wide through that corner. Might see a lot of people do that, and here comes that tricky section. He's just going to fly through here. Oh, he doesn't use too much of the curve. You can see that little hook of the curve. That's going to drag some people out if they go too wide through there. This cambered long left-hander nicely, and then through here. This will be flat through this little S, and then you'll brake just after that orange curve. Into this final bit. Does he go over the curb on the exit? Oh, you heard him have to lift. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So if he kept the throttle on, that would have been the lap done. So he's had to lift and maybe lose some time there.
Ed May in the chat saying, I think Underhill might be provisional P1. That's not a bad guess. 137.988 for James Underhill is his first qualifying lap in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. And now we come to this man, Pete Harrod. He's a lad that lives about a stone's throw away from me. He's ridiculously fast as Pete, and he is a World GT Champion. It's a league on iRacing using GT3 cars, and Pete has won it. He's also a double Kia Club Series champion from many years ago when I first met him here on iRacing. He's a really, really top lad. Quite a good drifter as well, as far as I know. He used to have a Lexus IS200 drift car, so he's certainly very, very capable behind the wheel. And he's gone quickest in Sector 1. Comparing it to James's time, he's done a 21.03. He's 3/10 up on James Underhill in the first sector. But to be fair, those two corners are pivotal themselves. I mean, turn 1 at this point, Jack, is just really scary in this sort of car, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a massive sausage curb on the inside. The curbs are quite big if you go too wide on the exit. And with this sort of low running open wheeled car, an inch either side is really going to unsettle you, and can end your race if you overcorrect whatever mistake has happened, especially on the exit. If you accidentally overcorrect your slide, you are going to get spat out to the left and into the wall, and that could be devastating for any of the championship leaders or anyone fighting for points.
Well, Pete's doing a great job at the moment. And through through the final sector, bouncing around all over the curbs, really throws it in. You can see a difference in the pace there. I think he just took a later entry to the corner, but that looked a little bit scary. Looks like a good lap though by Pete Harrod. Although, no, it did count. A 1:37.041, 9/10 faster than James Underhill. That is a really, really strong lap, to be honest with you. Now here comes Bart Daleman, getting very, very competitive. There's been a report of Bart revving his engine to try and burn more fuel off in the opening laps of this qualifying session. I've literally been called mum as, whoa, he has a bit of a moment there into the last couple of corners, and that's the thing, no matter how good and how quick you are, trust me, I know Bart's rapid in open wheel cars, this little thing, this little blighter can properly catch you out, and it can be a pain in the backside. He moves all the way over to the left-hand side before he chucks it in, uses all the curb on the exit. It's nice to know that that doesn't invalidate the lap, because we saw Pete Harrod do just that on his lap as well, but this is sure to be a bit of a belter here, Jack.
Yeah, that was very interesting with how much he opened up turn 1 to carry the speed through, and obviously twitching on that final sector. Just going back to Harrod's lap, most of that gain was in that final sector where we heard James lift off around that double right-hander. So that there was a good 4 temps there, and as you said, there was about three temps in that sector 1 and 1 temp in sector 2. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bart can do. Looks like it's coming up on my screen as he's matched the first sector of Pete Harrod. And now, if we just stick on board with him through this second half of the lap, because I want to see how committed he is through that right-hander. We've obviously got this section here. So scrubs the speed off, gets in nicely. Look at that. You can see the car washing out slightly, hits the apex there. No twitch, so very planted through there, very controlled. Now this is the corner. What do they do through here?
He's gone 3/10, so actually 2.5 quicker than Pete Harrod in the middle sector. But the car looks really good through the right-hander, doesn't it? It's just this bit you've got to worry about, because on the downshifts it's a nightmare, and it hates camber. Does this car as over the curb? It does look nice and tidy through the left, and look at that. It doesn't even touch the curb on the right, because it really opens up this final corner. This looks fast, doesn't it?
This does look fast. It's very tidy. It was just through that right hand I keep mentioning. It was just a lift in 5th gear, so they are committed through there. It's 2 purple sectors. It's going to move into the top of the times if it's valid. And there he goes with a 1:36.7, 2.5 temps quicker than Harrod. And as you said, that was all in sector 2 really, with a small gain in sector 3 as well.
Yeah, really, really nice lap that by Bart Daleman. 36.7 is quick. Now, this is a man that's used to driving a yellow car with a big black number 70 on the side of it. Aaron Smith is a very, very talented oval racer here on iRacing. He's double Vertex Stock Car Cup champion, and he races for VRS Satellite Racing. And he always runs just a plain yellow car with number 70 on it. There's no messing about with Aaron. He just does it and gets on with the job. He's going to be quick in these cars as well, as we saw at Silverstone, where he was racing for Tyrrell. But he's swapped with Carn Newen, who unfortunately is not here tonight. So, what can we expect from Aaron? You never really know. He wasn't quite on the pace in practice, but still looking good as the back of the car steps out slightly there. That was a bit of a hairy moment. Very, very hairy moment. But the first sector was his personal best, of course, but nothing purple yet.
No, nothing coming up. Where is he on my screen? 21.2. So he's a couple tenths down on Daleman and Harrod in Sector 1. He's slightly up on Underhill, just a tenth quicker. Coming up to the end of Sector 2 now. And it looks like he's going to do... It's a 46.6. So it's slightly quicker than Harrod there. Slightly slower than Daleman. I think he's still going to be behind the two as it stands. With those gains, but it's going to be close. This is where he has to make or break his lap time. Where's he going to slot in? Daleman, Harrod, is he going to be behind them both? He should be ahead of Underhill if this is all tidy, but he could slot in between Daleman and Harrod if he can nail this final sector. What's it going to be as he closes towards the line? He's completed the lap, and there he goes, just behind Daleman and Harrod. 5 tenths down in the end, so it was... He lost a couple tenths. Daleman's absolutely nailed that final sector there. So Sector 3 was the key one for him, I think.
Yeah, it looks good.
Just a couple tenths in Sector 1. Sorry, Chaz. Carry on.
No, it's all good. That Sector 2 especially, he's 2 tenths quicker than everybody so far. Aaron Smith was the second fastest in that second sector as well after Bart Daleman, so... It's very, very close between all these guys in different parts of the circuit. This is Rob Lundgren in the number 9 machine. Ooh, Rob's had a bit of a tough start to the season as well, to be fair. He's not had many points finishes. But to be honest, the Arrows guys have both had a tough start. Him and Morgan have had a bunch of retirements each. And they're hoping to turn that round in the latter part of the season. Now, whoa, that's very wide out of turn 1. I'd argue that might have been a 1X, as we know it, as an off-track. But the Arrows team... we'll be hoping to sort of reconcile, because let's not forget, after this round of the championship, we usually have 3 weeks between each round, but we will have a 6-week break before the Hungaro Ring. It's going to be a nice summer break for the series, just to help spread things out a little bit, and it gives drivers chance to just, well, say chill between rounds, but 3 weeks is quite a long time, to be honest with you, and I certainly do miss it every time that we aren't racing. Rob Lundgren, though, in the first sector, did a 21.1. He was still quicker than Smith and quicker than Underhill, actually, but he's a bit deep into the hairpin there. So we're going to see what he does now in the second sector. 46.49 is the fastest by Bart Daleman. And to be honest, I don't see many people matching that, because it's just insane pace. But that looked nice and tidy by Lundgren there. Really attacked the apex. Wasn't as smooth on the exit, though, but then again, it's one of those corners where you can see multiple lines taken through there, can't you?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because if you've got someone right behind you, you don't really... that may have been a 1X if it wasn't earlier. Yeah, if you've got someone right behind you, you don't want to take the line, because someone is going to absolutely launch it up the inside there, but then they're going to ruin their exit. So it's a good little corner to fight through for sure. Lundgren is going to finish the lap anyway to see what he could have done. You don't want to be touching the gravel on the exit that fast right. Crosses the line. It's not going to pop up, I don't think. No, it's not, unfortunately, for Rob Lundgren. So he invalidates the lap time, and it does not count. Here's another driver that's changed teams for the rest of the season. Jakub Szymanski moves to Lola to join Martin Kenyon for the rest of the season. I think I forgot to tell him to change his wheels, actually. Either that or he's forgotten. But I don't think they're meant to be grey. I think they're meant to be gold. Doesn't really matter, because this car is an absolute looker anyway. I think it's very, very pretty. Jakub Szymanski, certainly enthusiastic and really, really helpful with the championship. It's great to have him on board for it. He's done a 21.07 through the first sector. He's only 400 slower than Harrod. He's faster than Bart Daleman in Sector 1. That is
Pokey.
that's an impressive sector 1 from Jakob. That means he's nailed that first turn if he can keep that up through the race, but then it's all down to this next sector. You can see he's not using all the track on the exit, but it's not necessarily needed depending on the angle that you exit that hairpin into this fast right. There'll be no problem through here. All the time is going to be through this next left right section. So he's tidy through there. He gets back on the power over to the left hand side to open up this right. This is looking good for Szymanski. It really is. What's the sector 2 going to be? Crosses the timing line, and it is a 46.9. So he's just a couple temps down. I think it's the slowest sector 2 we've had, but with that sector 1, he's keeping him in this. So let's see what these final 2 corners are going to hold. Is he going to take it cautious? Goes right out to the curve on the left-hand side, throws it into the final corner. You can use all of that green stuff if you need to. He's going to cross the line with is it valid? Boom. 4th place, a 1:37.3. Just a 10th off of Aaron Smith II.
That's not a bad time at all, actually, is it really? By Jakub Szymanski. Very, very close indeed. Now comes Toby Ward in the Minardi. Again, attacking all of that curb on the inside of turn 1 and even on the exit as well. Toby Ward, car number 69. He scored a handful of points so far in the championship. He managed to, I think he got some actually last time round, didn't he? At Silverstone. Toby Ward did not score points. Or did he? Yes, he did. He was 9th in the race, so he has 4 championship points after Silverstone. And the Minardi team currently 7th in the championship with 24 points between them. John Tusting has the other 20, of course. He's doing really well considering. Minardi had a nightmare 1997 season. I think they finished last in the championship, scoring no points if you don't count Lola, who barely turned up. I think they did 1.5 race weekends and that was it. But yeah, Minardi in this championship doing well, and to be honest with you, Jack, I think that's one hell of a livery. I think it's one of the most retro and awesome looking cars I've ever seen in Formula 1, to be fair.
It's just so tidy. It's just the straight lines. There's no sort of curviness. There's no trickery with how the car looks. I think I don't know where I'd put it on my ranking system, because I think a lot of these liveries in the 90s were really nice compared to some of the ones we're getting now.
Yeah.
It's still the one that catches my eye the most, which shocks me, because I think at first I was like not a fan, but definitely the Prost one for me. It's just every time I see it, I'm like that. Or maybe it's just the shade of blue.
Yeah.
I've got a thing for blue now.
It's a very full-on blue, isn't it? It's just full blue. Toby Ward, though, will not be too full-on about that lap time, actually. A 38.5 puts him at the bottom of the grid at the moment, 1.7 seconds off, which for James Underhill means he's not last in his first qualifying session here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. Now, Morgan Butler, flipping heck, if there's not a more frustrating driver to watch than Morgan Butler. He's so quick, is Morgan. As you'll have seen, he was 2nd in practice, but he just has absolutely no luck whatsoever. Retirements aplenty throughout the season have meant that he's not got as many points as he should have. At this moment in time, he's 17th in the standings on 4 points. Him and Toby Ward have fantastic banter with each other about the fact that they're so close, but again, look, little twitch as he pushes a bit too hard there. But Morgan is honestly one driver that deserves the points based on his pace, but he just doesn't get them, unfortunately.
He's one of the most frustrating drivers to watch, because you can see that he's fast. He throws the car around in an exciting fashion, but then in the race it just all comes undone, and I can't work out if it's constantly a moment of him putting his car in a place where it shouldn't be, or maybe trusting someone too much with where he wants his car to go, or maybe just bad luck in general. Maybe he just keeps getting collected, or maybe all of the above. Who knows what is happening to his season? But we're on round 7 of 13. There's no reason he can't climb the order. As you said, him and Toby Ward, extremely close. So let's see what he can do for the second half of the season.
Yeah, let's see what the times are like as well, of course, because that's going to be the next sort of bit of bragging rights between the two of them. Morgan comes into the final sector. You can see the back end of the car trying to break away, but it does this weird little four-wheel drift, does this car, and it can catch you out because sometimes it properly goes around, other times it's just a sort of fake little bit of oversteer on the way in and it stabilises itself. That looked like a fast final sector for Morgan, but I'm not sure if he threw it away around the last corner there, crosses the line, and he goes 4th fastest. He does
Yeah.
a 1:37.358. Not a bad time, that.
Not at all. Half a second down off of Daleman's time, which we said was a strong time to beat anyway. I'm pretty certain you can use all of that green stuff on the exit of that final corner. So anyone going out there shouldn't invalidate their laps. But it's the opposite on that turn 1, as we've seen. If you go too far over that curve, that will invalidate it. Look at that. This is a nice angle of the Lola coming through that turn 2. Down the back straight now. Going to go reach 135, 136 miles an hour as they go down towards... I love how long it takes them to get to 6th gear here. I don't think it'll take them as long when they're behind someone, but is he even going to use it?
Don't think he knows
No.
if he's got it.
Does it exist?
Yeah, maybe.
It does exist, doesn't it? I'm sure I saw someone going to 6th earlier.
To be fair, the Lola probably didn't have the budget for 6th gear in 1997.
They got a different gearbox.
Morgan Butler's gone purple in sector 1 on his in lap. not the time, Morgan. Not the time, Morgan.
You did say not to dawdle on the in lap, and there you go.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's not dawdling. that is
dawdling
far
at
from
all.
dawdling, isn't it? Martin Kenyon looking all right at the moment, though. Looking at his sector times, he did a 21.4 in the first sector. Fastest through there is a 20.9. 47.1 in sector 2. That's actually the slowest time we've seen in sector 2 so far, unfortunately for him. Let's see what the last sector looks like. On his first lap, he did a 30.2, while everyone else was in the 29s. Some of them doing a 29.8 and 29.6. Car looks like it slightly gets away from him there. He says he's not had a chance to get some practice in or something around here. There's smoke across the line for somebody. Martin Kenyon crosses the line anyway, and he goes... Oh, the lap doesn't count. I'm not sure where he invalidated that lap time, but maybe turn 1, because he did run a bit wide.
Yeah, it might have been turn 1. That's the only place I can think of that was obviously too wide. That was okay. I think it's where you rejoin.
Yeah.
If you look at the green bit, I think if you use that green bit as you rejoin... Whoa, look at that for a lock-up squirrel into turn 2. That was very nice by Ed May. Need to get this guy into a commentary booth or something. He called... who was it that went provisional pole? Underhill. Called that very early on.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah, I love that. Love a bit of that. Ed's wearing a Rebel Alliance pilot helmet. I think it's like one of the Snowspeeder helmets, which is really, really cool. But he is teamed up with Adam Hedgecock in this championship, and he's another one that has not had the easiest ride. Martin Kenyon apparently invalidated turn 1, and you need to return to the track before the white line, and he didn't. So thank you, Jakub Szymanski, for the insight on that one. But look, even now, I mean, yes, we've only had 9 cars put qualifying laps in, and 7 of them have been valid, but having the top 5 separated by 6/10 around a lap like this, that's pretty amazing, considering that, you know, the drivers that we've had so far, some of the newcomers that have gone first, we consider them to have a higher level of pace than some of the drivers that do usually go on earlier in these sessions. So it's brilliant. But that is, I mean, justified reaction, because he is pushing hard now, is Ed May. He's getting his exams done at the moment for university. This is the motivation to let it all out, I think.
That's it. Did you see how much curve he's using? Is he going to use it there? He does manage to hit the outside curve. Uses all that inside curve. Uses all the outside curve. He has absolutely used every inch of track. I don't know if you saw him enter the hairpin, but he used all of that curve, and it puts him 3rd fastest with a 1:37.2. Well, that's how you take that corner flat out. But yeah, 21.2. He actually lost 2 tenths in the first sector compared to Harrod and Delman. Pretty strong in sector 2. And strong in sector 3 as well. So sector 1 was what let him down. It's interesting because you can see on our timing boards those that are taking turn 1 cautious and those that aren't. There's a solid 2 to 3/10 gap between those that are attacking it and those that are playing it safe.
Yeah,
there is no in between by the looks of it.
No, definitely not. And it's one of those corners that demands commitment. And obviously, with the amount of runoff and curb that you've got on the left-hand side, it's hard to sort of get an idea as a driver at the time where that sort of limit is, where the track limits do count. So hopefully for the rest of them, they can figure it out. And I think the further that you go on in this session and the more that you see people attack that curve, the more pressure gets mounted. You know, we've not really spoken before about the fact that some of these drivers go later and every single lap they see is an extra bit of pressure on them to get the job done here. But I think it's been very, very exciting so far this season, watching these guys do what they do. And I mean, I must again thank all of the drivers and everybody that takes part and everyone that helps choreograph all of this, because this session is not easy to choreograph. Jakub Szymanski does an amazing job at telling everybody when to go, what to do, but the drivers are also incredibly patient as well. You know, I've had messages from all of them saying, you know, it is a long old wait, like 45 minutes in some cases once you're the first car out, but the fact that they all still love the championship and still want to do it to compete, it really does mean a lot. This looks like quite a feisty lap from Ben Gregory. His sectors are not too shabby compared to everybody else. The middle sector was a little bit rough though, actually, so I do eat my own words pretty instantly. Let's hope he can make it back up here. That's tidy as well. Jack, what do you reckon?
Not sure. I'm going to wait for it, to be honest. Like you said, the sector 2 was pretty slow compared to the top times. Sector 3 was tidy, though. You called that. That's pretty much on pace with the top guys. It was just there must have been a mistake in Sector 2 because Sector 1 and 3 pretty much up there with the rest of them.
And he's behind Jakub Szymanski in the Lola, just ahead of James Underhill in the Tyrrell Ford. His teammate, Aaron Smith, currently 4th on the grid. As, whoa, big moment there by John Tusting, again using all of that curve, really throwing the car in. Fantastic to watch, of course. Hard onto the brakes now into turn 2. Now, this is a corner that can really catch you out, actually. What we'll do is we'll go on board for when the next person starts their fast lap, and we'll show you the braking zone into there, because it's a lot tighter than it looks. When you get to it, for some reason, I don't know whether it's just me, but part of my brain says this is a 90-degree right-hander, you're going to be fine. And it's definitely not 90 degrees, it's almost 180, and you have to tuck the car in, because you're going left after that, so you want to open up that left-hander, which, of course, gives you the run down the Parabolica in towards the hairpin. Nice tidy exit from the hairpin, but not too close to the apex. You'll see some drivers take a late entry there and try and get the run on the exit, but it didn't seem like John maximised that as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really clean. He's not making any mistakes. It's hard to judge some of these because you can see, I think the hardest lockup we've seen was, I think it was Ed May in the Sauber. Everyone else is either not locking up at all or just what I call a soft lockup, but there's no tyre smoking. You can just about see the wheels stop, which I think I saw Tusting do there into that middle sector. His mid-sector time was 46.9, so he's about 4 tenths down off the top guys in that sector, 2 tenths down in sector 1. Depending on how much he attacks this final sector, I think this is going to put him around possibly 6th. Around Szymanski, maybe. Let's see where he did. Did he make a mistake? Oh, there he goes, down to 9th. Yeah. There was a lot of time lost in that final sector. Almost 6 tenths to the top guys. Wow.
10 thousandths of a second behind James Underhill, and that puts both the Minardis, except those that haven't qualified, out of all the cars that have put times in. The Minardis are unfortunately bottom at the moment, and Toby Ward is half a second off his teammate. They will not be too pleased with that. Here's that braking zone we spoke about with Tim Perry. The circuit slightly dips down on the way in. It's like a little bowl through there, and you've got to be careful with the curb on the left-hand side because these cars can easily get unsettled by something like that and spin around, but it's a very, very tricky braking zone to try and keep it together on board, though. Up through the gears with Tim Perry, the beautiful Mercedes Arena grandstand in the background waiting to greet him as he comes back. Hard onto the brakes into the hairpin. Now let's watch from the rear end and see what the exit's like.
There's an extra mile an hour or two there in that 6th gear. I don't know if Szymanski knows about that or whoever it was that was holding it in 5th, but I think that could be important, especially when they're being towed down the back straight by, I don't know, whoever qualifies 22nd, for example, or whoever's getting 21 cars tow them down that straight. 6th gear will be needed. But yeah, this is Tim Perry. He's just about to finish his sector 2. He's done a 20.9 in sector 1.
That's quick.
That is the quickest sector 1 time. If we don't include Morgan's extra lap, that's the quickest sector 1 time we've had. A 46.6 in sector 2. That's only a 10th down on Daleman. So this is going to go quite close to the top. If he nails this, he could go 2nd, maybe even 1st.
Oh, that's very wide.
All the track. That's fine. He's still going to be valid. What's he going to do? It's a purple sector 3 to the top of the times, is it? 2nd by 300ths of a second, a 1:36.8. That is a crying shame because he was up on Daleman's time in sector 1. He went slightly down in sector 2, and he was up in sector 3. So that was all. He just lost those 300ths in sector 2 somewhere. That's crazy.
That is nuts. Absolutely nuts. So close there, and a great effort by Tim Perry. Lovely to watch. Now, Ben Hoffman, this better be a good lap for him, because this is going to be the last lap, or not the last lap, hopefully for him. This is going to be the last qualifying session he does in a Williams. His last appearance for the team. Bart Dahlmann is going to take over the seat from following rounds when we go to the Hungaroring and others. We have been told by Jakub Szymanski that he spun on his outlap, did Ben Hoffman, bless him. But he's still out there and pushing hard now. What is his first sector like? A 21.2, so that's pretty much in amongst it. That is not a bad time at all. Only a couple of tenths off the likes of Morgan Butler and Tim Perry. Nice and tidy to the apex and the hairpin. A little bit of a wiggle on the way out, but the thing is, in these cars, you will probably see them. I mean, we can't see it on the dashboard. If I show you, the dashboard's just a solid JPEG that says it's in 6th gear. But if you could see, I mean, we see what gears they're in on the right-hand side. Some of them actually stay in 3rd gear around a lot of these corners, and you can see the short shift there, because 2nd gear is such a nightmare in this car. It really is. I don't quite know why, but it honestly just spikes the revs so quickly. You're better off staying in 3rd, and some of them, I think, are doing that out of the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. What's crazy about that JPEG image that you mentioned is whoever is at the time doing 6th gear, they were only doing 79 miles an hour, so don't know what they were doing. I saw Ed Mays say that lockup cost him 5 tenths through turn 2 and all the way down that straight.
Oh, man.
So I think he's suggesting that he'd be on provisional pole at the moment, but you're not. So
whoa!
But look at that. Have a big bounce over that curb.
Ben Hoffman throws it over the curb, and oh no, his lap does count, puts him 6th fastest, just over half a second down on Bart Dahlmann. Well, will anybody dethrone the Frenchman on his debut in the Belgian on his debut in the championship? Sorry, Bart, I don't want to offend you. Next up,
that's a big one as well.
Yeah, that's a big offensive one. That. Oh no, you can't confuse the French and the Belgians. Sacre bleu. Right, Adam Hedgecock then, round turn 1 into turn 2 in the gorgeous Sauber Petronas. Don't forget as well, all of these liveries either done by yours truly or the incredible James Leggett of JL Race Aesthetics. James was racing in the championship, but unfortunately other commitments elsewhere have meant that he doesn't have the time to compete in the series anymore. But still, we have the wonderful liveries that he has done, the Sauber being one of them. Basically, I sacked off all the difficult ones to James when we did them. I think the only difficult one I did was probably the Williams, to be fair. I just saw the Ferrari and thought, it's a red car with some logos on it. I did the Prost, blue car with some logos on it. He did the Tyrrell, actually. Anyway, we have Adam Hedgecock doing quite a solid first sector, actually. 21.07, that's near the fastest times. We'll have a look at what Sector 2 looks like in just a sec when he comes out of here. I think the exit of this corner is Sector 2. Maybe that white line just there. It's a 47.59 currently, but I think that was his first lap. I think this is the sector line now. Yeah, there it goes. 46.82 by Hedgecock. It's a couple of tenths off Bart Dahlmann's time, but still, he's up there, and it's very close in that mid-pack, isn't it? Look, from Ed May back down to Szymanski, there's barely a tenth of a second in that.
Yeah, it is looking really tight. It's going to be interesting to see what those top guys can do when they come out, because Bart's time pretty early on, as you said. I mean, well, he set the benchmark early, and actually we've seen that a couple of times. Look at everyone using all that exit curb now. That's happened a few times in a row. Where's this going to put Hedgecock up into 9th? 7 tenths down, only a tenth off of Szymanski there, but a 29.5 in Sector 3, so he's lost a bit more time there. Oh, here we go. Here's a Ferrari. I completely forgot what I was saying because the red has dazzled me.
The beautiful Ferrari of Jack Styles, back with full branding on it. And Jack has once again given me a track guide for this week, and I've forgotten to download it. So sorry, Jack, but I appreciate your efforts. Let's see if he's been using all of those laps that he's put in to make the track guide to good use, and whether it gives him some pace. Ferrari have always had a good history here at the Hockenheim ring, except for maybe, let's ignore 2001 and maybe 2000, actually, where Schumacher crashed at turn 1 on both occasions. Once of which jumped over the back of Luciano Berti's Prost and went upside down in the sky. So, yeah, maybe I should think about saying that again in future when I mention that Ferrari have done well here. Anyway, Jack Styles is usually quite far up the field, isn't he, to be fair, in qualifying, Jack? He's one of the quickest drivers in the field, but he's another one that's just had a bit of bad luck and strategy's not going his way, and we've often seen him fall off the sort of lead group a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, the Ferraris seem to be having the current Ferraris' luck of the season, to be honest. They've been both strong. Both Styles and Zwemstra have been strong in pace, but the races haven't entirely been going their way, which is so much the story of many of the drivers. It really seems like an even split, with some people getting regular happy finishes and then the other half even just getting regular sort of disappointed finishes compared to where they want to be. But Styles and Zwemstra have been putting on a good show in those red cars, and they will. I'm sure it will come their way. I'm not going to pick them anymore for my predictions because I've been absolutely screwing them. So then again, I picked Dance last time out. It was the first time he didn't win, but he still finished P2, so that didn't work.
Jack Styles goes fourth fastest with a 1:37.13. Just under 3.5 tenths off the top time. Next up is his teammate, actually. And it is Kevin Zemstra, the very, very quick Dutchman. Now, he's got a little bit of a bent front wing there, actually. I'm wondering whether he's clipped a curb a bit too much on either his outlap or just then at turn 1. But that might not help him very much. So hopefully Kevin can overcome that. The first sector is a 21.21. That's actually a tenth slower than his teammate Jack Styles. But Kevin, we've seen multiple times right up there in the field as well. Obviously, he's in a Ferrari for a reason. He was one of the quickest in pre-season testing. I think he was actually the second fastest driver in pre-season testing after Jake Blackhall and just ahead of Ben Hoffman.
Is that my eyes, or has he got a damaged front wing?
He does. I've already mentioned it.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't.
Sorry, I didn't have to do that.
To.
I didn't have to do that. I'm sorry. That was completely unnecessary.
I don't know what I was reading or doing, but I did not hear you say that. He must have clouted turn 1, I'm guessing.
That's exactly what I said.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, I think it was either turn 1 or somewhere on his outlap, maybe that corner there, because we see a few drivers trying to attack that curb quite a lot as they go into this final sort of stadium complex. His middle sector was a 46.5. He's one of the quickest in the entire session so far in that middle part, so clearly that wing isn't affecting him too much. Into the final couple of corners, he's still got the downforce on the outside of the car at least. Takes a nice late turn in for the final corner. Doesn't use all the curb, but it seems smoother that way, and it's a purple final sector from Zemstra. And does he? Oh, 10 thousandths for Kevin Zemstra! Oh, 10 thousandths off going on pole. He's always so close, and he still doesn't get the job done.
And that's that sector. That's turn 1. That's that turn 1 2 temps that we're talking about. So he just didn't attack the first corner, and that's all that was. He would have been, if he'd done the same, if he'd matched the top guys in that first turn, he would have been 2 temps clear on pole. That was a good lap, even with that slightly wonky wing. I think I was getting distracted by all the Ferrari facts in chat. And I've just seen James Underhill saying he's getting cramp in his braking leg with all this waiting. Why is he pressing the brake whilst he's waiting?
Can't let the car roll away.
take your leg off the brake, James. Have a rest. Go on.
Use your hand instead. Pete Newman's done a 21.14 in the first sector. One of the fastest times that we've seen from the Benetton driver. Pete's another one that's been right up there in the championship. Had that big incident with Kevin Zemstra and co at Montreal. And I'm excited now to see what he can do in the middle sector, because Pete is once again a very, very consistent driver. And Jakub Szymanski saying he's getting certain flashbacks of Daleman versus Zemstra. For those that don't know, Bart Daleman and Kevin Zemstra went head-to-head for the Nevo SimStickers Formula 3 Championship recently, and around here there was a bit of controversial contact between the two of them, but it all got sorted out, and in the end the championship went Bart's way after a lot of incredible performances and horrendous luck for Kevin Zemstra, it has to be said. So, Pete Newman using all the curb on the inside there. We've not seen people use that too much. Really helps rotate the car in. Doesn't go all the way over to the left for this section. And you could hear him sort of lift there. Maybe the car stepping out. But that looks tidy through the last corner. Let's see what his final sector looks like. 29.34. Don't think that's going to set the times alight. But he still goes 5th fastest behind Jack Styles and ahead of Edward May. Boy, it's close in the midfield, Jack.
6th.
6th fastest behind Jack Styles and ahead of Ed May. Boy, it's close in the mid-pack, Jack.
No, it is. It is ridiculously close. It's 1-1 now, Chaz. There we go. We're evens.
Agreed.
Yeah, but no. We're talking. This is a 10th between each position. It's absolutely crazy, because that 10th can be won or lost with a slight delay in throttle on through turn 1, or maybe just braking slightly later into that hairpin with really fine margins. And if you go for even further up to the top, to the first 300ths between those guys, we're talking a slight, maybe millimetre of steering angle between those guys' lap times. It's absolutely crazy. Silas using 6th gear into the hairpin, goes for the missed apex approach to carry the speed, but gets an okay exit. What did he do in Sector 1? It was a 20.9, so one of the quickest times we've seen. Anything below the 21s, there's only 3 drivers who are under 21 seconds in Sector 1. One of them did it on his second lap. So realistically, only 2 drivers, and Silas is one of them. What's his Sector 2 going to be? It's on the exit of this corner, as you said, just before that white line. Sector 2 is going to be... Is that updated? Is it 46.7? So it's not actually that quick. It's showing yellow there. Does that mean it's slower than his out lap?
It does.
If it's gone yellow. Oh dear, he's had a mare in Sector 2. Uses all the curve on the exit at Sector 3. Cuts all of that in. Oh, look how much he's opened this. This could be a quick Sector 3 if he gets it all tidy.
That was tidy, sorry.
It was very nice. Bounces all over the curve. Look, right out to the gravel. That's how you want to do it. He's going to cross the line. Where's it going to put him? Has he saved it? He does go second fastest. What a final sector. He's really opened up that oh my god, I can't even get my words out. Did you see the way he cut the entry curve and went right out to the left hand side? He fully opened up that final corner, bounced over the curb, pretty much full throttle by the sounds of it. 8 thousandths, that's crazy. A 29.0. What a time.
8 thousandths of a second off, 2 thousandths ahead of Zemstra, who is 22 thousandths ahead of Tim Perry. Can we give a shout out to Tim Perry and Pete Harrod, by the way? Prost's 4th and 5th at the moment. Here comes Christian Rose, currently 3rd in the championship in the McLaren. Now, he hasn't had much chance to get some practice in for tonight, so he said one of his first laps might be in qualifying, and that happens to have come true. But he will be pushing very, very hard now to make sure that he tries to stay with Cam Dance in the championship fight. Cam isn't a driver we've seen on pole all that many times. I think he's only had 2 pole positions, but he's had 5 of the 6 race wins so far. Shifty, obviously Christian's nickname, has actually got a bit of wing damage as well here by the look of it, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's a setup choice. Maybe maybe they're all going for the wonky wing approach. It didn't hinder Zwemstra at all. He's only 10 thousandths off, 100th off of pole. So what can Christian Rose do? A 21.4. It was a slow Sector 1. It's not all over, though. I mean, actually, that 4/10 gap is probably one of the biggest we've seen in Sector 1. It's gone yellow in Sector 2. I wonder if he invalidated and gave up. Or is he still pushing? Because this isn't looking quick from Christian. Unless that wing is set up is not working for him. I'm going to try and hazard. Where are you thinking, Chaz? Where's this going to go? He's 4 tenths down in Sector 1. He's almost half a second down in Sector 2. He's gone for a little blink.
I think he's going to be behind Ed May and Aaron Smith here. I think he's going to be down in like 10th position.
Hedgecock area.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Rose down in 15th, 1 second off.
That is not what you'd expect. And, I mean, it sets us up for a fantastic race of watching him come through the field. But, oh, man, that is not going to go down well for Christian. But he did say he's not going to get much chance to practice. Now, if we're going to go on board with anybody, it's got to be Jake Blackhall. Because Jake is an absolute demon on these qualifying laps. He pushes it just beyond 110%, doesn't he, Jack?
He does. I'm surprised he used that sausage curve, to be honest. He's already gone purple. It's a 20.91. It's the fastest Sector 1 we have seen since Morgan Butler's extra little fly-through. Let's see what speed he reaches. Is he going to top out at that 136? He's going to keep it. Oh, no, there he goes. Into 6th gear. 136 into the braking zone. Hard on the brakes. Down into 1st gear. Hits the apex nicely. Look how tidy that is. Yes. That is a right out to the sausage curve as well. Unbelievable. The precision of this guy when he's doing his quali laps is unreal. Flat out through this right-hander. Over to the right-hand side straight away. Hard on the brakes. Watch the car dip down as he throws it towards the apex. Again, hitting that sausage. The speed he carried through there. Flat out through here. Easily. 4th gear. Doesn't need to use all the track there. Let's have a listen to him through this right-hander.
Oh, that's committed.
It's committed, but it sounded like a little feather of the throttle mid-corner there into the cambered corner. Whoa, he carried some speed on the exit there. Cuts this curve. Does he open it up as much as Silas? Not quite. Loses the rear end on purpose by the looks of it. That was a tactical throw-in. Carries the speed through.
That's fast. I'm sorry, Jack. That is fast around that final sector. Still not purple, but surely it's got to be pole position. And it is by nearly 1/4 of a second by Jake Blackhall. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely what we would have expected from him. But again, beautiful, beautiful sector. And I mean, he was only 200ths off Bart Daleman's magical middle sector that nobody was able to replicate. And he is the closest driver to that so far. Now, the next one up is the last one that we're going to have out during this qualifying session. Current championship leader by a long way, Cam Dance. He's won 5 of the 6 races so far this season. He's had a couple of pole positions. What do you reckon, Jack? Is he going to get another one?
I'm gonna say no. I reckon Blackhall's time was a bit tidy. He's pressured, is Cam, by being the last guy out on track. What's amazing is that most of that 2/10 was sector 1.
Yeah,
we haven't seen anyone make all the gains in that sector because there's not much to it, to be honest. So it's just really fully committed to that first turn. Cam Dance at 21 dead. So not a slouch at all. It's definitely a quick sector 1, not the quickest, but one of the quickest. Into the hairpin now. Let's see how tidy he gets this apex. Is he going to hook that right wheel up? This is it a little bit to carry the speed through. It's not really an issue. We saw it squirm though on the exit.
He lit up the rears. He really lit up the rears. It was hesitant going up through the gears actually. He stayed in second gear for quite a while. I think that might have washed off a bit of the speed. Whoa, he throws it into there, though. Wow.
That was quick through that
That
corner.
was unreal.
Yeah.
See what the sector time is, though. 46.51 by Blackhall. 46.59 for Cam Dance. So he's very, very quick as well, but still 800ths off. That was wide. It bounced up in the air over the curbs. He's pushing well hard, and he goes for the late apex and the late exit out the hairpin to try and open this up. Doesn't cut as much of that curb, but look, stays well away from the apex, although then puts it back in the middle of the road. So I'm not sure this is going to be the fastest time, but it's going to be mighty close.
He's aiming for that 2, 3, 4 little gap, the quarter of a second off, I think. He's going to slot somewhere in there, maybe even in 5th. Where's he going to jump to? He does go second, 600s off. He nailed that final sector. It's the fastest of anyone.
Wow.
29.0 in that final sector.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is very, very fast indeed. Very, very fast by Cam Dance, and fair play to him. He certainly worked hard on getting that one right. But what another fantastic session. We really do love these qualifying sessions. Well done to Jake Blackhall in the Williams. Let's just have a look. Oh, we can't really get a great view of them from the pit lane. There you go. Look at that. The whole field sat there in the pit lane after that one. It's not often you get the full field of cars actually sat in the pit lane like that, but there are the views here at Hockenheim. All the cars disappear as the session gets advanced. Thank you to Jakub Szymanski. And we now have a warm-up session for the drivers to go through. But what we will do is we'll have a look at the results of qualifying for you, because that was certainly an entertaining session. Jake Blackhall takes it 61 thousandths of a second over Cam Dance. Bart Daleman, incredibly impressive on his debut, it has to be said. Now, what's interesting about that is that Bart will be, of course, moving to Williams after this round to teammate Jake Blackhall. So the Williams are both going to be right up there in the field. Bart Daleman finishing that session in 3rd, as mentioned, though. That's just awesome. The 2 Dutch drivers, Silas Kragvrolic and Kevin Zemstra, 4th and 5th. Tim Perry and Pete Harrod, Prost's right up there in the pack, with Jack Stiles in the Ferrari in 8th. Pete Newman down in 9th. Really shows you how competitive this is getting now with these new drivers in there, because Pete Newman easily one of the fastest in the championship. Ed May in 10th ahead of Aaron Smith in 11th. Ben Hoffman down in 12th, Morgan Butler 13th, but he's only 8 tenths off, to be fair. It's incredible. The real surprise, though, is Christian Rose down there in 17th position, just ahead of James Underhill. James just about a tenth and a half behind him. And then we had no lap times put in from the guys at the bottom, which were Rob Lundgren and Martin Kenyon. But, I mean, 20 cars separated by 2 seconds. Narrow that down to 19 cars separated by less than a second and a half, Jack. And that's a very, very close session again.
Yeah, once again, top 16, 1 second. It's crazy, and just the closer you get to the top, the tighter it gets. It's going to be a mad one. Predictions-wise, one of my picks has got to do well at some point. Is Bart Daleman going to get some beginner's luck and take a win on his first outing? Do you know who I'm going for today? I don't want to ruin his race by picking him, because I know it keeps happening, but Silas has got to have a good one. He's always up there. He's always fighting for the win. I'm going for that McLaren today.
Yeah, so the number 28 of Silas Kragvrolic. He has been one of the most exciting drivers this season. We saw an intense battle between him and a few of the guys at the Interlagos round. The second race at Brazil was pretty immense. Now, I don't know about you, Jack, but I am sweating my breasts off right now after that session and a lot of frantic commentary, so it's about time we take a break just to have a quick drink and so on. I'm going to set the camera to auto for everybody so you can have a look at what's going on track, and Jack and I will be back with you in about 5 minutes' time. Just bear with us. Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Jack Johns here for the Chaz Draycott Media Formula One World Championship. We hope you enjoyed that little break there and you get to see all the drivers taking part in the warm-up session between qualifying and the race. What a fantastic qualifying session we had, though, and it was, again, Jake Blackhall getting a point for pole position with the fastest time out of everybody, and Bart Daleman making a strong debut in the Stewart. It's going to be his only performance in this car, so he will score the team some points if he keeps that up over the course of the evening, because the points that drivers score for the teams stay with the team even when they leave. Their Drivers' Championship scores, of course, stay with them as well, so it works both ways. Jakub Szymanski will be hoping for some points in the Lola. James Underhill, on his debut, will be hoping for more for Tyrrell, and I can confirm that even though I've just said that Bart will be driving for Stewart, they're going to have two brand new drivers as of next time round, as Ben Hoffman makes his way to the team, and unfortunately we've had it confirmed that Jack Werrell will no longer be taking part in the championship, so that means that this man, James Underhill, has got a permanent seat now, Jack, so we're going to see more of him.
Oh, that's good to hear, and I'm sure he will be happy with that. I mean, he's currently in 11th, so he's in some points contention. So it'll be good to see what he can do. Am I right in saying that you said it's the summer break next, so he's got a bit of time to get used to the car before coming back for a competitive final run?
Yes, indeed. You have 6 weeks before we have the race in Hungary. I'm just going to get the calendar up now, actually. I did have a version of this in SDK, which is the software we use for the overlays, but for some reason it just didn't work. 27th of July, we go to the Hungaroring in 6 weeks' time. Then the 17th of August, we're at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Bore Prix. There's only going to be 15 laps there as well. That's going to be really interesting, that one. That's one of 2 races in a row where we're running the medium downforce setup rather than the high downforce setup that the drivers are using in this setup at the minute. We go from Spa to Monza on the 7th of September, another one with the medium downforce setup. 28th of September, we go to the Red Bull Ring. 19th of October, we go to the Luxembourg Bore Prix at the Nürburgring, also known as the European Bore Prix. And then in November the 9th, we finish it all off at Suzuka. 18 laps around Suzuka in Japan. To be honest, I love Suzuka. It's a nightmare of a track to drive. I'm really, really terrible at it, but I think that round is going to be one of my absolute favourites.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm terrible at that circuit, but it is a driver's track. There's some real tricky corners there, and if you can get the flow right, you're going to have a massive advantage over everybody else.
You are indeed. It's now time to get the cars on the grid then. Jake Blackhall and Cameron Dance make up the front row of the grid. Bart Daleman and Silas Kragvrolic on row 2. Kevin Zemstret and Tim Perry make up row 3 ahead of Pete Harrod. The debutant lines up alongside Jack Stiles on row 4. Then it's Pete Newman next up with Ed May alongside him on row 5. Aaron Smith and Ben Hoffman make up row 6. Then it's Morgan Butler 13th alongside Jakub Szymanski, Adam Hedgecock 15th with Ben Gregory, Christian Rose and James Underhill, then John Tusting and Toby Ward, Rob Lundgren and Martin Kenyon round out the back of the grid. Lights are coming on though, and round 7 of the CDM Boremula One World Championship, the German Bore Prix, is underway, and a lot of them have a bit of a sluggish start. Actually, Jake Blackhall goes nowhere. Cam Dance flies into the lead. Kevin Zemstret didn't get away well, and look at Tim Perry. Tim Perry and Pete Harrod both going well down the inside. Blackhall runs wide on the exit. There's a car around, and it's Christian Rose. Shifty's in the barriers. Christian Rose is off. There's 2 cars involved there as well. It looks like Rob Lundgren is one of them. I think Toby Ward and John Tusting are both damaged. Morgan Butler's dropping down.
To get that car back, Chaz. I was just watching him in the background. He was squirreling away. I think he's going to commit to driving it back.
Oh, no. Oh,
dear, that is massive. It's Morgan Butler once again. No, and one of the Ferraris, it's Jack Stiles in the wall. Going down the order. He's going to try and bring that car back as well. Szymanski, I think, has had an issue somewhere. Yeah. But look at this. This is Blackhall trying to make his way back up after the sluggish start. He's back up into 3rd already. I'm sure he dropped down to about 6th. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job already here, obviously using the slipstream around the back of the circuit. But Morgan just didn't know that Jack was there. Morgan moved over really quickly to the left-hand side and unfortunately made that contact. This is Tim Perry in the Prost trying to have a go at Jake Blackhall right now. Either that or it's Jake trying to make the place back. Martin Kenyon is off the road. Jakub Szymanski is struggling. He's got damage on the car as well. And who is that? That is Morgan Butler with the car going very sideways. Jack Stiles makes his way past him. Man, oh man, that was a very, very messy start. We'll just give it a few laps for it to, well, I was going to say settle down, but it's not going to settle down. Christian Rose, oh man, that's such a shame, isn't it? Because Shifty's had a great season, and big damage means that he's not going to be going anywhere right now. Oh, and around
Right,
Pete
amazing.
Newman.
They're
Newman
all struggling,
spins.
aren't they, on these cold tyres? It must be that all these. Well, the other two cars we've seen spin is because of damage, but Newman struggling on the tyre temps. I think just losing it. Maybe too committed through that final sector, or maybe a bounce over the curb. But Blackhall is absolutely flying after a disastrous start from third. I'm sure he dropped to behind the Ferraris, but here he is now, right up back behind Silas as they go down the back straight, and they're still keeping Cam Dance within reach, who did set the fastest lap, I believe, on the last lap, a 1:41.6. He's trying to pull away, but this straight is going to keep everyone in contention. Is Jake going to make a move already? Silas moves over to the right-hand side. Is he going to send it? No, they're going to play it safe. Are they going to play the fuel-saving game already? They've got a long train behind them, so it's a risky game this early on.
Tim Perry had to slam on the brakes there, and Kevin Zemstra nearly went in the back of him. Guess who's gained the most places in this race? Newcomer James Underhill. Well,
it is. There he is.
He's tied with Toby Ward, admittedly, but he's still doing well. Pete Harrod has damage from that opening lap as well, so there's clearly some issue for Pete there. He's got a very, very bent rear wing, and that's a massive shame because he had a great start, great qualifying in his first race. Look at this big pack of them all coming towards us here. Very multicoloured and a big bunch of the teams, but Daleman has lost a number of places too. Let's see if we can put all this together then and see what... Oh, well, that's a terrible blimp cam because I've edited it to do that. So, Christian Rose is the first one I want to see. He got a really good launch. And, oh, wow, look at that. The Jordan went nowhere. That was Aaron Smith. Ben Gregory's on the right. Then Jakub Szymanski's in the middle. Jakub moves over to the left. And, oh, Shifty just turns into him. Just turns into the back of him. There's not really anything else he could do. Gets feisty there. That's Bart Daleman all the way over on the left after having a poor start. There's nearly contact there. Now watch Morgan Butler, the white and blue machine. Oh, there's a spin in the background for Hedgecock. Watch Morgan on the right, the white car. He comes all the way across to try and cut under these guys. Jack Stiles goes into the middle and Morgan goes left. I didn't see Jack move right, you see. And that's what caught Pete Harrod. Now, the most amazing thing in this is that Pete somehow saved this. I'm just going to try and keep cutting it forward, sorry. But somehow, Pete Harrod... I mean, I said earlier he was good at drifting. Oh, God, it's feisty behind him. There's a lot of drivers all trying to move around on each other. We're looking at the dark blue car now that's on its own behind the Ferrari. Is everyone... Oh, a bit of contact there with Newman. Everyone bunches up.
Squirreled away. Oh, my God. He's done well.
So he saves that, but watch this.
Oh, there you go.
For God's sake, Pete. Anyone but Pete Harrod would not have saved that. Anyway, race continues, unfortunately, for some of those guys that have suffered the damage. Cam Dance leads it. Then it's Silas Craig-Vrolic, Jake Blackhall, Tim Perry, Bart Daleman, Kevin Zemstra, Ed May, Aaron Smith, Ben Hoffman and Ben Gregory, who rounds out your top 10. Behind him is James Underhill, running in 11th place. Then Pete Harrod in 12th. I think Pete's going to maybe just keep that car as it is until it comes to the pit window. They only can pit in this race after 8 laps. We're going to see who's read the rule book soon, aren't we?
I imagine so. Obviously, apart from those that with damage, I was looking at that lap counter. I was thinking that Butler was going to be out shortly, and there he goes. Because Stiles came back out in 18th, who as we saw, caused that incident there with a shoot over to the right-hand side. But it's a shame for Butler. Lundgren's down there in 21st as well. He was looking for some points. But here we see Tim Perry in 4th. He's got a beautiful shot of the podium up ahead of him as when Daleman swap over behind, I think that was. But yeah, look at this. This is where we're going to see the tow. It's going to pull him back in towards these guys. He's going to make a lunge.
Oh.
They're all against each other, just off and on the brakes. But look at that. That's why there's a Ferrari down the inside. That's Zwemstra trying to move up.
Oh, no.
A few places, but he's had to back out of that. And now Daleman, I imagine, is going to go around the outside. Oh, he lifted. Never mind. He's going to say, do you know what? I'm not fighting you.
There's no love lost between these two. They fought for the Nevo SimStickers Formula 3 title recently very, very hard indeed. They have a very intense rivalry to the pair of them. I feel like someone's down the inside, maybe, and Ed May. And yes, he is in the Prost. Bit of cloud cover comes over. It's not a Prost, it's a Sauber. Ben Hoffman on the back of this now trying to attack Aaron Smith in the Jordan. And, well, this is typical Formula 1 fashion. This is not abnormal for the championship for it all to be compressed like this at the front. But yeah, he's got the nose there. Oh, love it. Go on, Ben. No offence, Aaron, but you know, I want to see a move like that get done. And well, great stuff by Ben Hoffman. And he doesn't need to worry too much because he's not really going to have lost slipstream to the guys in front there.
No, they both made it through. I mean, it putting a lot of trust in Smith there to allow him to keep his nose there through that sector, but he did, and there they are, still within slipstream, and now they can both close this train again. Oh, lock up for Blackhall there into turn 2. That's going to make him vulnerable here, because you've got Perry and Zwemstra looking keen.
Pete Newman's had an issue and is unfortunately out of the race by the look of it. He was just on his own. After getting the damage fixed, he's gone over the curb, clipped the gravel, and the car spits out to the left, and I think that's going to be the end of his night because the fast repair will have been used earlier on. Blackhall and Zemstra are side by side because Tim Perry's gone down the inside. How they've not all made contact there, I don't know, but this is getting very feisty. Very, very feisty indeed. We'll go to chopper cam. This can be used in evidence. Jake Blackhall having a bit of a blink in and out there. Silas moves over to the right. He's trying to give slipstream here to Kevin Zemstra, his countryman. Bart Daleman looks like on the inside of Jake Blackhall. He covers that off. Then you've got Ed May behind them. Ferrari looking good here with Kevin Zemstra in 4th. I mean, Tim Perry, though, he's an absolute star so far. 3rd place. We know he's quick. And Cam Dance, all the while, in that very familiar green, shiny visor, continues to lead this race.
Look at them all. They're using all the track now, aren't they? And more trying to keep up with everybody. I told you that Blackhall was going to be vulnerable on the exit of that after that lockup, and so be it. As Zwemstra and Perry went through into the hairpin. Smith throwing it around this final sector, trying to get back up to the back of Hoffman. I mean, he's keeping him right there. And it's just that train they're so close that even the tiniest mistake is going to cause big problems. They're side by side into turn 1. That's Zwemstra on Perry. Look at them going side by side through there. That is crazy. That's a surefire way to lose some time. Zwemstra on the inside of turn 2. Perry's going to hold it around the outside. Blackhall's going to get the run. Zwemstra's going to lose a place here because now he's vulnerable with that compromised line on the inside. Blackhall is actually going to have the most speed, so he might get both of these places back unless he gets boxed in. What are they going to do here?
Well, Perry now moves over to the right to try and block off Zemstra. They go 3 wide once more, but they don't want to battle like this. Perry keeps moving over and over the interlocked wheels for a second there. Perry's gone deep on the brakes, though. Blackhall knows it, and he's gone wide around the outside. Bart Daleman gets alongside him. Hoffman's got past Ed May in the background of all that. Jake Blackhall's got damage to his front wing, so I'm wondering whether that's going to affect him in a straight line. But this is epic racing once again. Surely something's got to give here, though, and I'm scared for it too because, well, I'm not just the commentator, but I'm also the series admin. Effectively, so is Jack as well, so we've got to sort all these lot out. A bit further back, let's just try and remain a bit calm because we've got Ben Gregory, James Underhill and Pete Howard having a nice little sort of... it's a small conga, isn't it, really, what these two are doing at the moment. They've got Martin Kenyon not too far back as well, but he is actually a lap down on them, so he is not close to scoring points, unfortunately. Looks like Pete Newman is also out of this race after having his issues.
I don't know how Howard's handling that car, to be honest. It's looking worse for wear as someone went off there. That's Ed May, I think. Oh, no. Who is
Hoffman.
That? That's Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman had a spin. Not sure if Ed hit him, but...
Just lost it on entry.
Oh, Ed clipped him on the way through, but only just. I think Ed just trying to avoid him as best he could. And Hoffman's... Oh, wow, it's broken the suspension, look. It's broken the rear suspension. It's a very odd sight to see the wing going sideways like that over the pit wall. But, yeah, Hoffman into the pits with damage. And, well, it's those tiny little moments that make all the difference. And we know how difficult and tricky this car is, don't we, Jack?
Is he going for this? Silas was closing up at rapid knots there. No, he's backed out of it. He's definitely playing the fuel-saving game. Zwemstra looks down the inside of Perry there to try and take 3rd place. I don't know if that was contact on the exit, but he's forcing his way through. And now they're side by side as they head towards the flat-out right-hander. It's going to give the inside to Perry, though. He's going to hold it round here, I imagine. Now it's going to be later. Who's later on the brakes into this next corner? Whoa, look at Perry on the brakes. He's going to try and run Zwemstra out right, but they're still side by side. Zwemstra holds it around the outside. He's on the inside for the next corner, and that should give him enough of a run down towards the next one to keep this position. He's on the inside for this fast right, but if Perry holds it around here, that is brave stuff for the Prost driver. He does hold it around the outside. That gives him the inside for this cambered corner, and now it all swings in favour of the Prost, but Zwemstra is... Oh my God, they're going to do the whole lap side by side through this next chicane. Zwemstra on the inside of the final sector. Perry is going to have to give it up now, but Blackhall is trying to pick up any pieces that comes from this fight as they head down towards the line now, approaching lap 8, and it looks like Perry's got the run on the exit. They're not going to do this side by side again, surely. They've done it once. They're going to do it again. Perry around the outside. Gives him more than enough room. That is going to give Blackhall and Daleman a run down towards turn 2. Look at Zwemstra. He's going to try and cover them both off. Blackhall down the inside. He's going to back out of that, but Zwemstra is going to come out on top in P3.
Oh, and there's a car off that. It's Rob Lundgren, who has had a spin after coming back out of the pits. Unbelievable racing, though, between these guys. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Really, really phenomenal stuff. Ben Hoffman is also out of the race. We've had another retiree. They're dropping like flies here. We're on lap 8 now, so the pit stops can start anytime after this. Look at these 3 wide. Jake Blackhall on the inside, then Zemstra, then Perry on the outside. Bart Daleman's trying to go with Blackhall there. And look at that. Jake's made it work. And now Daleman and Zemstra are side by side. Please no, gentlemen. Please, please no. These two are so feisty against each other. Like I said before, no love lost. It's like Plato and Neil, these pair, but a Belgian and a Dutchman. As Bart Daleman tucks into the slipstream of Jake Blackhall, Zem's just trying his best to stay as late on the brakes as possible behind Jake to maybe box Daleman in. Daleman's on the inside, running wide a little bit, but no, actually, nowhere near running wide. Look at how much room he's given him. Tim Perry is still watching this go on. Ed May and Aaron Smith are together in the background, and wow, nearly contact there, but Zemstra gets 4th position on the exit of the right-hander, and this is just phenomenal racing. Absolutely phenomenal racing once more here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship, and this is not going to stop, is it? I mean, we've had, what, 6 rounds of this already, Jack? And I mean, we thought it was going to chill out at some point, but it's never going to change, is it?
Well, no, it's not, and they've pulled the trigger. I think Zwemstra and Perry were looking feisty. They started fighting. The fight lasted a lap, maybe 2, and now look at the gap to the top 2. It's 4 seconds as we see our first pit stop. It's Pete Harrod on lap 9, which is allowed. So
yes.
The pit stop phase has begun, and he's going to fix that wing, and I imagine come out with a bit more pace than what he went in with.
Yes, indeed. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. If drivers do have damage, then they can pit early on and then go to the end of the race. So drivers like Jack Stiles, who has pitted, and John Tusting, who has pitted, are both carrying on. John got a bit of damage from that initial contact. Jakub Szymanski also. Christian Rose is back out there as well, actually. Be interesting to see where he ends up at the end of this race. But, of course, there is a big gap. You can see the race leaders coming out of the hairpin there. And it's Cam Dance and Silas Craig Vrolik again, 1st and 2nd. For the first 3 races of the championship, these guys finished in this order. So, once again, they're showing us that it wasn't a complete fluke. As, we've looked away from Jack Stiles and Christian Rose, and both of them have had issues. This is Pete Harrod leaving the pits, though. We don't want to look at that. Jack's had a spin into this hairpin. Just clips the curb, and on the throttle it goes around. Christian Rose then went off the track on the exit of this right-hander as well. Apparently that was off the track. But the battles rage on here for 3rd position. It's a bit more spread out now, but I think the guys will like it that way because, boy, does it get feisty.
They're going to hope that Blackhall can bring them back to the top 2 as Ed May goes for another little drift in the dirt. That's going to cost him a few places. I wonder if he's... I don't think he would have damage because he carried on after that slight contact. Who was it that spun off? He had the contact with earlier. Can't remember who it was. They went in the pits afterwards with suspension damage. It was Newman, I think.
Yeah,
it was one of the top cars. This is Underhill.
Well, yeah, I was just showing that he'd gained a position on Ed May. James Underhill's now gained 9 spots. He's the biggest mover in the field on his debut in the championship, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely loving that. And he'll be focusing very hard on the task at hand right now. So, Kevin Zemstra, with his main rival, Bart Daleman, behind him, who's hidden behind this phenomenal camera. Just tipping the car in between the wing and the ground. We saw the nose just poke through. Bart goes later on the brakes. As around the outside goes Zemstra, tries to hold it on. Minardi Simsport in the chat. Nico, my friend, great to see you, mate. For anyone that doesn't know Nico, he is possibly the best in the world, if not the, well, I'd say confirmed best in the world at Circuit Superstars. An absolute superstar in himself. Really, really quick driver. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I've had a few sessions against him, and I just can't live with it. Cannot live with it. And I'm no slouch on that game, to blow my own horn. But these guys, I mean, these are no slouches either. The margins, as Nico mentions there, 0 thousandths of a second across the line, Jack, at the start of the season. It's not chilled out since then. The margins here are so tight, and qualifying was an example of that, and the races remain to be as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this pit stop phase because I don't know. I remember you mentioning who's in teams outside of the Formula 1, but I'm not sure if Silas has that pit stop strategy that we've seen from the likes of Cam Dance and Jake Blackhall, where they gain 2 or 3 seconds. Silas should be able to gain in the pit stops because he's been saving fuel behind Cam since the start of this race. We're on lap 11, but Cam has been one of those that just, for some reason finds extra time in that pit phase, and it's gonna be close.
It really is, but let's not forget as well, at Barcelona, Silas Craig-Vrolik stayed out for like 3 or 4 more laps than the train that he was at the back of for the whole thing. Once he'd lost the lead, he led the race early on, made a mistake, fell to the back of a 6-car train, stayed out a few laps later, and then went on to almost win the race. There was contact with Cam Dance in the final laps. Sorry, Nico, spoiler alert. But there was an amazing strategy played by him where he just stayed out later. Zemstra outdoes Daleman at the hairpin, moves back in front. Then you've got Tim Perry behind. Aaron Smith and Ben Gregory both doing well for Jordan at the moment. They've had a bit of a torrid season of the Jordans. Ben Gregory had a great first race. I think he finished 4th overall in the first one and then barely scored any points since then. He's on for 8th at the moment. Biggest mover of the field has now become Toby Ward, as he is in 10th position. He's got 12 seconds over Pete Harrod as well. The 2 cars he's overtaken are actually fighting for position. Martin Kenyon and Rob Lundgren, 18th and 19th at the moment, a lap down on Toby, but having their own scrappers. Oh, Martin headbutts him into the left-hander, and Toby is surely going to drop out of the points with that. He gets going again, but let's see what the damage is like. Is the car crabbing?
Has he stopped yet?
No, he's not, so if he can get this back, he'll be alright, but that is, well, there's a word for that, and it's not broadcastable. Cam Dance still leads this race, though. Let's not forget about Cam. We're over halfway now, onto the 12th lap of this race. Oh no, Rob Lundgren's gone off the road now after we just look away from him. It's the typical Chaz curse, actually, when I'm broadcasting. As soon as I look at someone for a moment and give them a bit of limelight, even if they're further down the order, as soon as we look away, they have an off.
It's easily done, to be honest. There's so many cars out there. We're missing 3. Hoffman, Newman and Butler out the race. Lundgren's still going, racing Kenyon for 18th place as Toby Ward does come into the pit. So he's going to lose a few positions now. But obviously, when everyone else sorts out their pit stop phase, he might gain them back. He was solidly in P10 at the time. Ed May, who had, I think, earlier issues in the race, was a little bit further back. Harrod was a little bit further back, so it'll be interesting to see where that all sorts out. As we go on board with Silas on the side of his car, you can see a lovely shot of the Benetton in front of him. And this has been the gap for the last 12 laps. He's just been sitting pretty here, waiting for the opportunity. I don't think he wants the lead because it's all down to that mid-race pit stop. Look at Cam using the gravel there. That could have been disastrous. But he's trying, he's pushing out in the lead. But the gap, I should mention this, Blackhall has closed the gap to 2 seconds, and it was 3.6 when Zwemstra and Perry were fighting in that 3rd place. Aaron Smith has set the fastest lap of the race down there in P7.
Yeah, he has. He's on the back of this train, so he's clearly using the slipstream to his advantage, and he's doing a good job of it at the moment. Thank you, everybody that's been tuning in so far. It's great to see you all along for the ride. Let us know what your predictions are for the latter stages of this race. Now that we're going to get some of the guys in the middle pitting, Ben Gregory decides it's time to do just that. James Underhill carries on and goes up into 8th. He's going to run it till it runs out of fuel, basically. Rob Lundgren has unfortunately had another off and then jumped back to the pits, and I think we know what's going to happen here, Jack.
That's going to be a double Arrows DNF, I think.
Oh, we've seen a torrid season for the Arrows, and it gets even worse, unfortunately, with another double retirement here at the German Bore Prix. I think they're bottom of the team's championship at the moment, Arrows. Either that or they're second to last. Jakub Szymanski has also been in the wars in his Lola. Maybe just a little bit too eager on the throttle. Oh, no, and he gets clipped. That's Christian Rose's race getting even worse as well. Let's see what the damage is like. Seems to have got away with it. Yeah, flip it out. It's made of titanium now. Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving Cam more credit than he's due. He's obviously a very good driver and is smart with his races because he's won so many. I think he's only lost 1, and when I say lost, finished 2nd. But is he managing his pace to the point where he's letting the train catch up behind? Oh, there's a loaner again.
It's Jakub Szymanski
again.
The
gap is now 1.9, so it's still around 2 seconds, but it dropped to about 1.6 at one point during that phase of the race. So I'm not sure. Is he just struggling with tyres, or do you reckon he's backing Silas off into the pack?
Whoa, that was lively. I'm not 100% sure, you know. I think Cam is pushing hard, but he managed to do this in a way where he could still save fuel while he was right at the front of the pack. It was unbelievable. So I never really know what to judge from Cam. We've got Rob Lundgren, unfortunately, in the chat saying that he's flopping into the Rhine. after not having the best of races. We've also got Steve Burke, Team Lizard Motorsport, saying, I reckon generic surname the third has got this, which he means is Aaron Smith. We've also got Tony Draper saying, loving the coverage and retro graphics. Thank you very much. He says, Handsome Pete Harron for a podium, which is Pete Harron, of course. They call him Handsome Pete, and he certainly is, bless him. Daleman and Zemstra to collide. It's written in the stars, says Brian Loynes. I wish I didn't agree with you on that one, Brian, but I do. Silas Greg-Rollick, though. Just as a little hint, actually, Jack. Again, I've gone on like 4 tangents here after you asked me a question. I'm really sorry. But this is how it happens in this championship. As a bit of an example of how strong the slipstream is in this championship, from the run from turn 1 to turn 2, Silas Greg-Rollick hit 138 miles an hour. And this car on its own tops out at 136. So that shows you the slipstream incredibly strong there.
Well, and the Blackhall and the rest of the train are now well within that. That gap has closed from 2 to 1.1 seconds in that lap, as I mentioned, about backing off. As Tim Perry set the fastest lap last time out round, and Silas pulls the trigger. He's coming in the pits first. He's going for the undercut.
Yeah, he is. He gets out of that. He thinks, right, I could probably do a lap like that on my own anyway. He knows he's got good pace. Change it up and down the gears for no reason whatsoever, as Cam Dance now has a little bit of breathing room back to Jake Blackhall, although it's only a second. So we'll go on board with Jake, and we'll see how this looks in terms of the gap, although we would do if I'd actually had that set up on SDK, which I don't, so shut up, Chaz. So the gap, though, I can tell you, is 0.98 right now, and it's coming down to 0.90 now. Now it's suddenly flying down. Now it's 0.8, 0.75. Hard onto the brakes. Whoa, maybe a bit hot. Yeah, there's that little soft lockup that you saw. You mentioned that. I think Zemstra and Daleman have just made contact. Either that or Zemstra hit the back of Bart. Not Bart. What's his name? Jake. Let's have a look. Yes, it was Zemstra into Jake. Oh. And then Daleman says, cheers, mate.
Yeah. Have that for a speed boost.
Yeah, have a bit of that. Now Pete Harrod's got a fixed car. Look at him go. He's chasing Ben Gregory. And, well, we expect Pete to put pace in, and he's just gone straight around him with the slipstream, of course, helping him out, but I feel this may be a really good battle to the end. Ben Gregory actually started this race 16th on the grid, and he's up 7 places into 9th. James Underhill's still up 7 places after his pit stop, and it wasn't a bad stop either, 10.8 seconds. He's got his partner Sarah in the chat, cheering him on. And
am I right in thinking everyone below, well, apart from the people that have just come in, everyone below Silas has pit? Is that correct?
Yes, everybody below Silas. So the only 2 drivers now not to have pitted are Bart Daleman and Tim Perry, who have both just stayed out. So there's a big pit party going on here. Cam Dance is at the front of it. Well, no, he's not. Jake Blackhall is. He parks up. They're going to be stationary for about 10 seconds. Ben Gregory did 9.9 seconds worth of fuel. Cam gets away. Jake gets away. Next up is Zemstra.
9.6, 9.7. Look, yeah. And there goes Silas. Did you see him fly past turn 1?
Yep, and look, he's in the slipstream with Jake as they got towards turn 2. But Jake Blackhall was a lot further behind him earlier, wasn't he? Well, you could argue anyway. But still, he's not overtaking Cam in the pits. And again, Cam, 9.6 seconds, the shortest stop, and he's gained an advantage. And now these boys are going to fight behind and surely not get a win from this. Or has Silas got to slow down? Oh, no, he's sitting behind Bart.
He's going to let Blackhall go to try and close that gap.
Why do I keep calling him Bart? I'm sorry, Jake. And I'm sorry, Bart, as well. But, yeah, I think you got it right, is what I'm trying to say. You've absolutely nailed that there. He's going to sit behind him and try and use that to his advantage. So Bart Daleman in the Stewart leads this race on his debut. Tim Perry, I mean, Tim's been great all season, but he's been an absolute superstar in this one, especially for me. I think he's been brilliant. And we've still got 6 laps to go here, Jack. So this is far from over.
Far from over. I'm looking forward to seeing. Blackhall's had pace. He's been closing that gap this whole time. So I wonder if he's going to bring Silas with him, and then we're gonna have that. What do we call it? That regular Boremula 1. Ooh.
What happened there?
That was just really good pit entry from Tim Perry. But are we going to have that regular Boremula 1 finish where it all kicks off in that last phase of the race?
Oh, I hope not. My heart can't take it, mate. I really can't. But no, I think we will. You know, it seems to be getting gloomy here at the circuit, actually. We'll check what the weather conditions are like. 32 degrees on the track, and it's 23 degrees in the air, so that's not too hot, to be honest with you. We'll have a look at how this all pans out, though, because Blackall and Dance have gone through. Where's Daleman and Perry? They come out in the thick of it. Zemstra is going to be side by side with Daleman. Is he? Whoa, Kevin! What are you doing? Flipping heck. Now, I've seen people weave and protest and sort of say, don't turn across me like that, but that was over the board, that by Zemstra. I think that was genuinely him thinking, oh, I'm going to go right, and then no, I'm going to go left, and then maybe losing it a bit. But now the gloves are off. They don't have to save fuel, hopefully. And now they're going to go for this. Watch Perry here. I think we'll go on board with Perry and get a bird's eye view of this.
Zemstra's going for it straight away. Look, it's not hanging about. Went straight down the inside of Daleman. I think he's going to get that move done. And the gap now between Blackall and Dance, 0.4 of a second.
Whoa.
So that's, oh, well, he's well within the slipstream now. Is Blackall, is he going to get his second win? And actually, Silas has dropped off the back a little bit. He's still within slipstream. But it's looking like it might be a two-horse race at this phase if these two are going to start pulling away, even with people in their tow.
Yeah, definitely. I think the pairing that we've got at the front right now are easily two of the finest drivers in the series. I mean, it's so close between all of them, but time and time again, Cam Dance, Jake Blackall, they both managed to rise to the top. Both of them over in the Australasia region as well. Jake is an Australian, so it's going to be about 7 in the morning where he is, as he has a big slide through the penultimate corner. How do you save that? How on earth do you save that? That's mad.
He doesn't need to be doing that too often. That was a big loss of traction through there, but 7/10 back, and that will all go on that straight. You watch it close right down. It will all disappear. I want him to start making moves, to be honest, because the more they fight, then my pick, Silas, can get back involved. that's who I'm rooting for today.
There's not even any money on it.
And Daleman, like you said, whole way through this race, they have look at them. That fight is not over either. 4 laps to go, and the fight for 4th is staying strong.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, are they? And it's nicely spread out. Look at the glint from them as well, the little glow from all the cars. I absolutely love that effect as they come towards us. Bart Daleman pulls out to the right-hand side of Kevin Zemstra and then decides against it. Pete Harrod hasn't got rid of Ben Gregory because of the slipstream round here, but he's up into, well, actually he's down into 8th place based on where he started, but still, he's on for points on his debut. So too is James Underhill. He's all on his own in 11th place at the moment, but still, 7 positions gained from where he started. Adam Hedgecock and Ed May both having slightly quiet races as well. Ed May made that little mistake earlier on. Now, Jack Stiles is outside of the points by about 23 seconds at the moment, unfortunately. John Tusting is 11 seconds outside of it. So they're all having slightly lonely races. So far, we've lost Jakob Szymanski, Rob Lundgren, Ben Hoffman, Pete Newman and Morgan Butler. Both arrows, a Williams, a Benetton and a Lola. But the guys still running are keeping this, I think, close to their chest. They're keeping the cards close to their chest into these final few laps. As Anton Dupin says, hi Charles and Jake. There you go, Jack, you got a new name. He says, this looks like good fun. Great to see you, Anton. Hope you're well, mate. I really do. I hope you're having a good night wherever you may be. And I hope you enjoy these final laps of what has been a bonkers German Bore Prix. We've got your countryman Bart Daleman in the thick of this as well in 5th place. He's in a Stewart that is very much out of position, I should say. Chasing down Kevin Zemstra in the Ferrari. Tim Perry behind him. Aaron Smith's been great here as well, actually, hasn't he? We know he was good in the Tyrrell last time out with that early pit stop, which was for issues with frame rate, unfortunately. This time round, though, he's been up there the whole time. He's pitted with an illegal lap, and he's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think keyword for him today is consistency. He's been there the whole time. He hasn't got himself in any trouble, and he's going to pick up a decent amount of points for it. And if he wants to, I think he's within reach of pushing for an extra position or two. So he's well within reach of, if anything kicks off, to gain a few more positions. And that's maybe all he wants to start, just while he's finding his feet in the series, before he starts fighting a bit harder with some of these drivers. He's got the pace to do so, but some good points for Jordan there in P7.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. And it's nice to see so many different manufacturers. I mean, there's not one single repeat manufacturer inside this top 7 battle. We've got a Benetton, Williams, McLaren, Ferrari, Stewart, Prost and Jordan. The first repeat is actually Pete Harrod in the Prost, and then another Jordan before we get to the Sauber of Edward May. So we have a big bunch of them inside the top 10 that are all different manufacturers. Obviously, realistically, they're all the same car, just different liveries. Now, Blackall's dropped off Cam Dance here, and suddenly Silas has closed in on him. So this is becoming a 3-horse race at the front, while Zemstra and Daleman will potentially battle behind. Martin Kenyon's race has come to an end, it looks like, Jack.
I don't know how at this point of the circuit. Oh, just a spin.
Oh, no. Oh, that's going to have broken something. Sorry, did I hear you giggling for a moment? Have I missed something?
No. No, I'm confused about that one. I maybe just thought he could save it and didn't get the brakes on in time, and that can happen. So.
Oh, sorry, I meant before the replay. I thought there was something that had caught your eye.
No. Look at this. This is Black Hole going down the inside of Cam Dance, 4P1, and Silas trying to follow him through. They're going to go side by side now. Oh, Cam is not going to let that go.
No, he's not.
So he's going to slot in between the two.
I know.
It's going to get really tight through here now. We've got 2 laps to go. And now look at the train. Zwemstra, who's been no slouch in passing people this race, is now straight onto the back of the top 3 fight. Jake Blackwell leads. They're going to start using all the track they can. And they've been saving their 1Xs, I imagine, for this phase of the race. I saw Silas use one at turn 1. Lap just gone. I imagine he's going to try and use it again to get the run down towards turn 2. This is a great shot of the top 3. On the top of Zwemstra's car, looking ahead of the Ferrari. We can see Silas in the McLaren, Cam Dance in the Benetton, and Jake Blackwell in the Williams. Your top 3 separated by, well, half a second at least. You can see the gaps, and here we go down towards turn 1. Who's going to extend? Let's have a look. Who is it going to be? Is anyone? Zwemstra's going to. Of course he is.
Yeah.
He's going to have the run down towards turn 2. Watch him try and make this move. Here he goes, down towards the inside of turn 2. He don't he don't care
Go on, say
about the exit. No, I don't want to. He don't care about the exit of this corner. He's got a long straight. He's going to try and get the move done. But who is going to get the slipstream? Oh, he's going to move over to try and get it from the leaders. Don't touch down this back straight, boys. You've done so well. There's 1 lap to go. Don't die at this phase. Blackhall still leads. And Cam Dance 3 attempts behind down towards the hairpin. He's not going for it yet. Zwemstra keeps it on the inside. And I think he's gained P3. That's a podium for the Ferrari so far.
Now, you know what? Now, Jake is going to be absolutely dying for these guys to put some pressure on Cam Dance and try and make a move. He doesn't want them to fight each other. He wants them to try and get past that Benetton and get into second position. But even if anyone else gets into second place, they're going to be the one with the slipstream on the back of Jake Blackwell onto this final lap. It's going to be so important. And you could say it's unfair. I know some of the drivers probably will if they don't win the race, but honestly, it's part of this championship. It's part of this sort of racing. We've realised it by now. The drivers all know it, and Jake Blackwell has once again done an amazing job to be leading this race. Cam Dance, incredible as ever, still in second position. He's second in the he's leading the championship. He was second in the only race he didn't win, and still has Craig Vrolic round the outside. What a fantastic opportunistic move that is. Gets in front of Zemstra, but they've dropped off by 8 tenths from Cam Dance and Jake Blackwell. Final lap here in the German Bore Prix. White flags in the air, even though that's an American thing, and I hate it. Oh, well, it's quite a French thing as well, actually, to throw a white flag in the air, isn't it? Yeah. Still has Craig Vrolic in 3rd place with Kevin Zemstra behind, though. Seems to have gapped Bart Daleman. That could be important. However, I think he's the man worth going on board with now, don't you, Jack?
I think so. Jake
hold your breath.
Needs to, yeah, that is it for this final lap, isn't it? I don't know if he's wasted an opportunity in that final sector and sector 1 to try and... He needs to try and back dance off. Because both those in 3rd and 4th are the drivers that are going to make those moves, even when it's not worth it to lose time. And look at this. He's going to force him around the outside. Cam Dance launches it down the inside. There was contact on the exit, and he's going to retake the lead. And that, he's not going to take too kindly to that, is Jake. That was feisty stuff. He's going to
Oh, no.
And the Jake Blackwell spins round your championship leader, Cam Dance, who loses a few positions, but it looks like slots in behind. Smith's going to get involved. But Silas, Craig Vrolic, who would have seen that coming on lap 22 or 22? I'm not sure how that happened.
No.
It'd be worth a replay before calling it, but I'm not sure if it was a...
I think Jake's car just understeered into the back corner of Cam, if I'm honest with you. He tried to put it down the inside. I don't think there was any sort of netcode or anything. We've seen it between the two of them before, but we can speculate later, because into the final couple of corners, it still has Craig Vrolic leading the race. It still could change now, but round the final corner, McLaren are going to get their first win in the season. Still has Craig Vrolic wins from Kevin Zemstra. Bart Daleman gets a podium. Tim Perry, Cam Dance and Jake Blackwell round out your 6. Aaron Smith finishes 7th in an amazing German Bore Prix. Pete Harrod is going to finish 8th on his debut. What a great drive that is. Fair play, Sunshine, even with the damage earlier. Ben Gregory finishes in 9th place, and then Ed May is going to round out your 10. But, well, big celebration noises there from Jack Johns, because Silas Kragrolic wins.
Punch in the air, he's done it. Jesus Christ. I'm so happy for him.
Oh.
I mean, sorry, Jake and Cam, because obviously what we saw there, and let's face it, I think unless anything like that happened, it was going to be one of those two that won today. And they've done everything right throughout the race. Jake had a shocking start, got back up to the lead. And Cam Dance did everything he needed to as they fought towards the hairpin. Is this the last lap we're seeing a replay?
It is, yes.
So this is Cam Dance within the slipstream. And we saw he's going to set this up nicely. You can see he doesn't open up the corner as much as Jake. Doesn't need to, because he gets the run he needs. We'll see Jake defend about halfway down the straight, and there will be contact on the exit of that hairpin. It's only slight, but watch this. You'll see Jake's going to try and pick. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? He's in the middle. Moves over to the right, and look at that. That's how Cam Dance got the inside. He used all the track and more. Tries moving opening the corner again. Didn't care that Blackwell was still there, and there you can see it's just slight touches. It's nothing. Well, it's a slap in the face on the last lap for the lead, but it's not anything bad. And then, oh dear.
Yeah, I think Jake just didn't turn in as far as he could have done. I mean, there was a lot of space on the inside. Aaron Smith, bless him, absolutely cacks his pants when he gets to the corner, loses the 2 places. And then
that looked better from the overhead shot
than
the TV cams.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. But Silas Kragrolic, I mean, Bart Daleman, hats off to the lad. He's done an amazing job. But on the final lap, it looks like Adam Hedgecock has got James Underhill. We're going to carry on with this as well. James will have still finished in the points in 12th position. But let's just see how these final couple of corners go. Hedge down the inside into the left-hander. James carries it round the outside. This is great fighting. We saw another great Tyrrell fight, actually, at the last round, didn't we? Oh, no, sorry. No, it was. It was Hasse Raymer and Rob Lundgren on the last lap at Silverstone. Look at this, side-by-side through the right-hander. Still side-by-side on the exit. Great racing, great respect between the two of them. We've got only a couple more corners to go. The best view for this is going to be from the chopper. To show you how close they are, there's contact even through the left-hander. Don't think there was anything untoward. I think Adam just lost it a little bit. James gave him the space. Still side-by-side. Still side-by-side, and he's on the outside. Adam Hedgecock, go on, son. James is going to... Oh, he lifts out of it to give him the room, and Adam's going to do it to the line. Oh, and he just beats him across the line. Fantastic racing, gentlemen. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. You've got to love it. You've got to love it. Oh, man, I am sweating, sweating
Look at this guy.
buckets. Oh, man, well...
Drifting around... donuts.
Oh,
he don't know what to do with himself. But he can't believe it. There was one point he was nearly reserved to 4th.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Hang on, am I right in saying Zemstra's in 2nd?
Yeah, Zemstra got a 2nd place.
Oh, wow. What a race.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to have a look at the race results then. And we'll make sense of all of that another time, I think, because flipping out, my head is hurting. Silas Kragrolic takes his first race win of the season and the first win for McLaren Mercedes this season. Kevin Zemstra finishes 2nd, just over a quarter of a second back in the Ferrari. Bart Daleman gets a podium for Stuart Ford. That is good points for the team, considering he's leaving them next round. Tim Perry finishes in 4th. That's a great result for Prost as well. Cam Dance ends up in 5th. Ahead of Jake Blackhall in 6th position. Aaron Smith finishes in 7th place. Pete Harrod on his debut leads a humongous train of British drivers, actually. Ben Gregory is 9th. Ed May finishes 10th. Adam Hedgecock in 11th with James Underhill on his debut, getting a championship point. Well done to James. John Tusting finishes just outside the points in 13th. Jack Stiles will be gutted after that one as well. Toby Ward has a very subtle evening, just under a minute off the leaders. Christian Rose also having a night to forget. Then we have the drivers that did not finish the race, one of which, of course, was Martin Kenyon. Jakob Szymanski was 10 laps down. Then it was Rob Lundgren, Ben Hoffman, Pete Newman, and Morgan Butler, who did not also make it to the flag. Well, I'm sure we'll have a number of drivers up for an interview after that one. And I'm pretty sure that there's a number of them that are very happy with their results. Ben Gregory seemingly happy with a top 10. He's put a big dab gif in the in the chat, and I'm sure that he's going to be over the moon with just some points on the board, because Ben's one of those drivers, isn't he, where he did really well in the first race and then it just didn't, I don't know, he just didn't actually come back from that, did he, and continue that consistency. I
missed that. I was daydreaming again. I'm buzzing off of the Silas win and the Wemstra second, who would have been my pick, but he asked me before the race to not pick him because of the bad luck that I keep giving him. So,
well, you've paid him back there.
Yeah, there you go. Have a second place. Have a 1-2 on me, boys. There you go.
Well,
all my work, not yours.
Well, we'll drag him in for a chat, shall we? Silas Kragvrolic joins us in the booth. Silas, first off, well done, mate, because that was very, very feisty. How do you feel, though? Because, I mean, it's hard work in every race in this championship, but to come back after a week off and get a win, not bad going, that.
I mean, I'm just happy. I mean, finally, after getting so many second places, missing a race, last race, I mean, I crashed. I mean, I'm just happy I finally got the win. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw my donuts, but that was all the frustration from all the second places and just not making it. So, but yeah, well, I'm happy.
Well, it was great to see that relief. We did have a look at the donuts on the in-lap as well, and they are completely justified, mate. What was the highlight of that race for you? Because, I mean, it was a shame the way it ended on the last lap and the battle going that way, but some of the fighting that you had in the middle of the field there, and especially chasing Cam in the early stages, it was just awesome, wasn't it?
I mean, it was really good, but in the beginning we were pretty much just cruising, and as soon as I tried to do something with the pits, but my outlet was pretty mediocre, suboptimal, and after that I got behind Jake, and I knew Jake was quicker on just raw pace, so I was like, okay, I'll let you go by and try and chase down Cam, and that worked out quite good, and then I suddenly lost him a bit, and I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna have to really try and keep up here, and I put in a 35.9, and that I feel like that lap was really what really got me the win. I mean, that's probably one of my better laps, or one of my better laps in my entire sim racing career, if you could say it like that.
Well, no, I totally agree. You know, when you have those banzai laps that really help you get a race result, you know, they're the ones that matter the most. And I mean, Jack did choose you for the race as well, so Jack's finally got a prediction
Really?
right. He's finally picked a driver that hasn't crashed on like the opening lap, but it's finally come true. Honestly, if you watch the broadcast back, you'll hear he celebrated more than you did when you crossed the line. To be honest with you. But still, it was good fun to watch. Jack, any questions from you?
No, I mean I can hear the smile on his face whilst he's talking. So, and that's what I expected. Like I said, he's been up there the whole time. He's got a few seconds, and he's had some really close races for those wins. And now it's finally happened here at the Hockenheim Ring.
It has indeed. Well, exactly. Very, very well done, Silas, and of course it helps you in the championship fight as well. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to while we've got you on stream?
I'd like to shout out you two. I'd like to shout out this league. I mean, it's been great fun. Pretty much hasn't been a race where I haven't had a lot of fun. So, I mean, I shout out to you guys for organizing this, and the commentators for... I mean, I've been watching the qualifying, and the way you guys just yap on about nothing, but it's still very entertaining. I mean, that's impressive. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yeah, shout out to you guys.
Thanks very much, Silas. Really appreciate that, mate. And, well, seems like we've got something right for once, Jack. I like that. Anyway, cheers for joining us, Silas. Well done on the win, mate. I'm sure now you'll reflect on it for the next 6 weeks, and we'll see you in Hungary.
Exactly.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, see you.
Fantastic stuff. A very, very happy Silas Kragvrolic, and completely understandable as well, Jack, because as he said, and as you said, you know, he's had a lot of second place finishes, a lot of runner-up spots, especially in the first three, looking at the back of Cam Dance's car. He had to do a lot of doing that in the early parts of this season, and, well, it's in this race, I should say. But this time it paid off. It wasn't the way anybody wanted the race to end, and I'm sure, you know, I was going to elaborate on that a bit more with Silas, and I'm sure he'd agree. You know, you never want to see a race decided like that, but these mistakes happen. You know, drivers make mistakes, and that's racing. It wouldn't be racing if there wasn't those mistakes, would it?
Absolutely, and being in these situations in the championships, I mean, frustrations rise, and it's one of those things. These things will always happen. That especially the later a season goes on. And to be fair, it needs to happen because Cam has had such a championship lead over his immense form over the first few races. And like we said, Silas was always there. Just that points gap between first and second is massive. And a race like this is really going to... I mean, that chunk out of Cam Dant's lead is probably well needed. In fact, maybe one or two more if Silas wants to take the championship. But Cam will still have a comfortable lead, so I imagine he's not going to be too upset with that. He's still finished in the points. And I mean, no one can win 100% all races in a season, so it's just one of those things. But absolutely have to celebrate our top three today, even though we saw the championship leaders come together towards the end. It's just something that happens. But Silas, Kevin, and Bart on his debut, a well-deserving podium for sure. And I'm sure the grid, as well as yourself, will agree with that.
Definitely will, and a man that will also agree with it, but also be happy that he's got more points out of that. After a great qualifying in 6th place and then a 4th place finish, Tim Perry joins us in the box. Tim, that was amazing from your point of view, I'm sure, because you were always in the battle, and to be fair, you didn't really get caught up in any of the mess. It was quite a clean race from your perspective.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was absolutely crazy, and I mean, like the drafting really adds like a tactical element to it. So I really enjoy it. But yeah, there was one stage at the start of the race where I was trying to move up a little bit just to stop people from coming past me. You know what I mean? It was like one of those, if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backwards type of scenarios.
Yeah.
And then it kind of strung out a bit, and we're trying to just go as fast. Then we were trying to catch up with the front two, and the pace was really on, and it was just a really interesting race, really, from start to finish.
Well, it was really, really good to watch as well from where we are, and to be honest with you, I hope for more of the same. It's nice to see the Prosts scoring good points as well. I know there was a few rounds where either yourself or Craig missed it, and now you've got a really quick teammate in the form of Pete Harrod as well. It was a shame we didn't see all of his potential. Do you think Prost are going to continue to do well in the Teams Championship then, if you work together like that again?
Well, if you race here every week, then I would certainly be much faster, because this track really seemed to suit me for some reason. But yeah, I mean, I've raced with Pete Harrod in World GT as well, and yeah, he's a really solid driver, and me and him both get quite a lot of points there just by being solid. So if we can kind of transfer that over to this series, then I can't see why we can't do quite well, to be honest.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on. 6 weeks now until the Hungaroring. Is that a circuit you enjoy?
Yeah, I went quite well there in the GT3s, which is my main kind of car. So how that will translate to this car, who knows? But yeah, I'm certainly hoping that it will, because yeah, it feels like I've got a bit of momentum now, and if I can carry that through to the next race, then yeah, I'm hoping for more points.
Well, we really, really hope we get it, Tim. Well, we hope you get it. Me and Jack aren't going to score any points. But it's been a great start to your season. Look forward to it, like I say, mate. And, well, is there anyone you want to give a shout-out to?
Just big thanks to the Boosted Boys for hooking me up with this series. Obviously, they've got a really good opinion of you and the series that you run. So they, said that I should do it, and I've enjoyed every second of it so far. So, yeah, just thanks to them for hooking me up with this series.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you for the kind words as well, and we look forward to seeing you soon, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers. Well, what we'll do, Jack, is before we elaborate too much, we'll just very quickly grab 2 more interviews, just a couple of questions each to round this out. Podium finisher Bart Daleman on his debut joins us. Bart, your only performance for Stuart this season. You're going to be moving to Williams next time out. I think it's justified with a 3rd place, don't you?
Yeah, probably. You're the league director, so it's your decision, mate. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Well, how did you find that, mate? Because that looked like a lot of fun from where you were. I mean, even battling with Kevin as well so closely, and you didn't hit each other.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think Kevin should stay in this car. But it suits him well. He should just leave the F3s. Here he can beat me. So that's good for him.
Well, it looked like a lot of fun either way, mate. You know, some fantastic racing in this championship is always expected. But did you expect it to be like that straight off the bat? Did you think it'd be difficult to sort of get to that level?
I didn't know what to expect. I did 2 hours today. I had a day off, so I had the luxury to do 2-hour practice and just get a feel of the car. I actually drove this car back in the day. It was one of the first iRacing cars that I drove, so I knew the car a bit. But it's a long time ago. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 years. So yeah, but it was just mega fun. mega fun, very close racing, and I would even say it was fun, more fun than the F3 series, to be honest.
Get in, there we go. I've outdone you. No, I'm joking. It's all good, mate. All good. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed yourself, Bart, because that's the main thing that we aim for here. You know, we want everybody to have a lot of fun, and it's just awesome, really awesome to watch it. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Because unfortunately, we're a bit short on time.
Yeah, no, thanks for you for organizing, and I don't know who the other commentator is. I'm sorry. I will start to know you, but thanks for commentating as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Bart. A pleasure as always, mate, and I'm sure I'll see you again very, very soon.
Bye-bye.
I nearly moved myself out of the broadcast booth by accident there. Well, the other commentator with me is, I'm sure, going to ask a few questions of, we'll drag him in, Adam Hedgecock, who joins us in the box. Adam, it was a bit of a lonely race again for you, but still, more points for the championship, and a great fight at the end, though, with James Underhill.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. It was lonely. I done myself a good one, didn't I? Right at the start, I spun it at turn 2, and that put me out of drafting and all that kind of good fun. But that is what it is. Still had fun, still enjoying it. So that's the main thing, right?
Definitely is, and I mean, points in this championship mean a lot because of the way that the point system works. You know, it's quite an aggressive point system, we tend to say. Is there anything that you think that you can do specifically to improve in this sort of car, or is it just a case of suck it and see with a lot of these races?
Not spinning.
Yeah?
Not spinning. No, there's some quick guys here, isn't there? Let's be honest. And they're a little bit quicker than I am, so just kind of being in contention with them and trying to put myself in a position to have a fight would be good. But other than that, I'm just here to have some fun, mate. Like, if I don't score points, I don't mind. If I score points, then I rub it in Ed May's face. That's how I roll.
Love that teamwork. Love it. Well, it's a pleasure to speak to you as ever, Hedge. We're a little bit short on time, unfortunately, so we have to move on. But is there anybody you'd like to give a quick thanks to while I've got you?
Sure. I'd like to thank my mum, my dad, Kat, the academy. You guys have been doing a great job. Just the usual, Chess.
Beautiful stuff. Well, great to see you as ever, Adam. Thank you very much, mate, and we look forward to seeing you at Hungary.
Yeah, cheers, chaps.
Cheers. Well, there we go, Jack. There we go. Another evening completed, mate. And I mean, well, I'm sweating buckets again. I'm not sure about you, but this racing is just. I mean, I'm happy as an organizer that, you know, everybody's enjoying themselves and the chat is always really positive. It's just so amazing to see that little cars like this, they're not celebrated on iRacing anymore. They're not used officially. You know, it's an old car, but racing can still be just as good in bits of kit like this.
Yeah, it's impressive, the racing. It's a car that I hadn't really seen be used since I got iRacing personally. So. Because it was already legacy by the time I came around, but it produces great racing, and the consistency, it's got to be given to the drivers. The consistency of the racecraft has been impressive. I mean, crashes and the like, but like the ends of the races, the pit stop phase has very much thrown up some curveballs, but the ends of the races, every single one, I think apart from one in memory, but I think it was the one that I weren't here for, has been really close at the end. It's been a ridiculous fight between trains, just the way the slipstream keeps everyone involved. And actually thinking back, going back to this race, if you think about what happened, that move of the race, let's call it, that Silas did on Zwemstra around the outside of the final turn, ended up being the move for the win. Yeah,
that's very true, actually. He did just cling on to the edge of the circuit, didn't he, and just sweep around when there was that little mistake from Kevin Zemstra. But that's the thing, at the time, there's so many position changes in this sort of racing that we don't often realise who's actually making the move for the win. It's bonkers, but still, another amazing evening in the Chaz Draycott Media Formula One World Championship. Any sort of driver of the day from you that isn't still as Craig Frolic?
Tim Perry put on a good show, for sure. Bart Daleman's first time out got a podium with that little bit. I think I'm going to say Kevin, just because that P2 I think has been a long time coming as well. He's had strong pace, and it's never quite come together. And he was one of the only drivers today that didn't wait around in that slipstream. I think he went for nearly every opportunity he could. He was racing side by side, probably the most throughout that race, with Daleman actually, who obviously also ended up on the podium. So I think it's going to be Zwemstra for me driving today.
Yeah, I think so too as well. You know, I mean, special shout-outs to Bart Daleman for that podium and Tim Perry for 4th place overall, but I totally agree. You know, we saw an amazing drive from Zemstra tonight. He was not hanging about. You absolutely hit the nail on the head, mate. Really, really good stuff from him. So Zemstra gets driver of the day, essentially. There's not really any prize officially for that, but still, it was a really, really strong performance. That is, unfortunately, all we have time for here tonight on Chaz Draycott Media with the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship. I have been Chaz Draycott, and thanks as always to the drivers and everybody that helps run this series and keep it all above water. And thanks again to the drivers for competing and their patience in qualifying, because it's great to see. We now unfortunately have a 6-week break before the Hungaroring. We'll be back on the 27th of July. Make sure that you set that in your calendars, because it's a long way away and suddenly the championship will burst back into life. But for now, have yourselves a wonderful evening, everybody, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Good night.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.